You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them were some birds.
Crockett. Vice, Miami.
I was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Did you ever read you've never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Remember, kids, no matter how long the fight takes, villains never win.
Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump. 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 Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump.
Oh yeah. Holy shit.
Jesus. Oh my god.
Sitting around thinking the same shit.
I can't breathe. I gotta stop looking at it.
Let's go. Big bang, big fall. Christmas came, I took it all. Big suit, big lies. Now they're done, I'm on the rise. Corporate giants in my sight came for me, now they fight. Red suits, green cash, burn it down, light the ash. Holiday flames, watch 'em blaze. I'm the Grinch of your last days. Big bang, big fall. Christmas came, I took it all. Big suit, big lies. Now they're done, I'm on the rise. Big bang, big fall. Christmas came, I took it all. Big suit, big lies. Now they're done, I'm on the rise. Big bang, big fall. Christmas came, I took it all. Big suit, big lies. Now they're done, I'm on the rise. Big bang, big fall. Christmas came, I took it all. on the rise. Deck the halls with shattered pride. They can't run, they can't hide. Tinsel wrap around their throne. I take it all, leave them alone. Yeah. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Black shirts coming, stop running, running. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. Wide awake from the sleep, lessons of the past on repeat. We rising, no holding us back. We worldwide moving as a pack on the streets to the heights. We only attack. They try to hold us down. Put your money on black, money on black, money on black, money on black, money on black.
It's Wednesday again, and you know what that means. The world is cracking in half. But we do have some good news before that. And to explain just what the hell we're looking at, here is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Buddy Black Shirt Army, and Keith says, well, my terror kitty, because he's been holding me hostage every morning for the past couple of weeks. Say hi, kitty. My extra snuggly kitty. And he's been terrorizing a lot of racists and children on Twitter.
Oh. Yeah, a lot of those running around. One of them got in big trouble.
Oh, we will get into that. But what this is, and I saw this like just before we went on, the studio that behind Wallace and Gromit is working with Pokemon. Like, this is the most random collaboration I think I've seen in a minute. And they're doing a stop motion project, which I think is awesome.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a look at that. The claymation hasn't failed, believe me. We'll leave the sound on. It's very, I don't know, it's magical. That's it. That's all it is.
I know, it's so simple, but it's just like, it gets you so excited, doesn't it? It feels like an old school, like, cartoon is coming.
Well, it also has like that Pokemon concierge service feel to it too. That fake
yeah, that Netflix
claymation
show.
one.
Yeah, but this is gonna be real claymation. But like, doesn't this kind of like take you back to like the old days of like Mr. Bill?
Mr. Bill?
Yeah, you don't remember Mr. Bill? It was a very old claymation show.
No, I was on the opposite coast from you, so.
Oh man,
we had Gumby. That's what we had. We had Gumby.
This does kind of give a little bit of Gumby feel too, but it does. Yeah, see, like Gumby or Tim Burton. Yeah, it does. It does give like that really like nostalgic Saturday morning claymation feel.
Well, and we're lucky too that we remember what that is, right? Because there was a few shows back in the 90s that really enjoyed that, and I really forget. I think there were ones, Kablam had a couple of claymation.
They did. They had Prometheus and Bob is the one that comes to mind.
And then those superheroes that were terrible. I only remember Meltman.
That wasn't claymation. That was those were just straight up action figures.
Those were just straight up action figures just being flung around and melted. Meltman with the power to melt. See, that's what this stuff reminds us of, is when people actually put effort into media.
Yeah,
how about that?
Yeah, and Aardman Studios, if you watch Wallace and Gromit, even now, they really do put a lot of tender loving care into their productions, which is
always
nice.
have. It's what made Wallace and Gromit so unique. I mean, I don't think there's another property that made a penguin threatening.
No. Well,
I mean,
no,
even
Courage the Cowardly Dog did.
That was a duck.
No, I thought they had a penguin too.
No, I want to say that was LeQuack, and that was the duck, and he kept saying "cuss-cuss-ay."
No, there was LeQuack, and there was chickens, and I think there was also a penguin. But
it's not actually a penguin, you know. And the penguins in Madagascar aren't actually a threat.
Oh, well, there's Batman, but that's a penguin. That's not a penguin.
It's just a fat man with like a weird speech tick. Did you ever know what that was? That was hell for the original actor, by the way. He had just quit smoking, and it destroyed his throat due to that. There were a couple scenes where he had to cough through it because he was coughing after the cigarette, and he was like, the behind the scenes to the old 66 Batman are absolutely priceless. They had no idea what they were doing. They were literally making it up every week.
I mean, look at what we have with South Park in the early days of South Park. They were just making it up every week too.
Yeah, that was the little Pengu. That was Pengu, and he goes.
Yeah,
Newt,
Pengu's
Newt.
Pengu's getting a reboot too, if I remember correctly.
Is it a dark and gritty reboot?
I don't think it's going to be a dark and gritty reboot now, because people like Pengu because he's adorable and cute.
Pengu versus Gumby.
That'd be awesome, actually.
But I think Gumby is just a little too hard for kids these days. You remember the Blockheads?
Dude, I can't believe they're doing a Gumby reboot. That's so dumb. Just the way that I think they're doing it is really
everything's getting a reboot. It's claymation. I can't come up with a new idea. Here's Pokemon. Oh well.
Going for it, which I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this with this claymation. I'm really curious.
But speaking of not using your imagination, we do have a wonderful episode of F around and finding out. You know?
Yeah. So basically, for those of you that have not been on Twitter for like the past, I think this has been going on for like the past 36 hours. So basically, a stupid 16-year-old decided to blackwash a frame from Dandadan, and it turns out that and Japanese Twitter was digging through this. They were selling their blackwash edits too for like up to $30.
That's weird.
Yeah, and this if it was just regular fan art, it's fan art. You're drawing, fine. But this is edits. Like they straight up took copyrighted material and drew over it and traced it and all that. Like, come on. That's kind of illegal too, if you think about it.
It's a lot illegal, actually.
Yeah, that's very illegal, and the 16-year-old is really finding out. But yeah, they are getting destroyed. I've seen, and I think it even says here in the Japanese forum that there's a lot of adults trying to coddle this 16-year-old. They need to get, in my opinion, yeah, they fucked around, and they need to find out what life is, because yeah, you kind of committed a crime.
So this person is saying in Japanese, could be like genuine or not, I'm not sure. It says, buddies tried to harass this poor girl off the internet while official Dandadan English VAs are using her work as their profile pictures. Oh, I love it when black people win.
Oh, they didn't win because AJ Beckles, the voice actor for Okarun, he changed his profile picture to Okarun for like less than 24 hours. Then he changed it to like a whitewashed, and I describe it as like a whitewashed and shaved head version of it. And then after even more backlash, he terminated his Twitter account, went to Blue Sky, and he actually posted on Blue Sky, like, yeah, I terminated my Twitter account to get away from the racists.
Oh, genius. Very big brain. But as this person says here, it says, Twitter makes me so insanely mad because a racist can get 300,000 likes spewing the craziest Yahtzee S to a black teenager just because they made a black Dandadan edit. I hope Twitter breaks down like a car or something, whatever. So anyway, down so that we can all transfer to Blue Sky, where those people who like kids are, and just create without all the people telling us that we can't like kids.
But what they're doing is not art, though. And even Japanese Twitter, I found several tweets from them saying this, and I don't think people understand it. So basically, there's a difference between fan art and what these people are doing. Fan art is you could do what you want as long as you're actually drawing it. If you're drawing it from the ground up, that's fan art. But what these people are doing are tracing over like existing images. They're doing stuff on Photoshop where they're just like using an eyedropper and changing the skin tone from white to black. And sometimes this happens in reverse as well. And it's just, and sometimes we'll say they fixed it. It's really disgusting. That's not fan art. That is just editing. And that's stealing.
Right. And it's one of those things that is, well, it's also insulting to the Japanese in that we constantly complain about cultural appropriation, right? Well, what is that exactly, right? The other thing to remind people of is that when this happens, right, and this is my problem with race swaps, is that it inherently means that the creator or visionary has no faith in the original black character that they could create in order to facilitate that desired character design. However, that's where we are, where people simply don't have the confidence in creating their African-descended demon slayer character and hoping that that gets enough attention. They have to change main characters into a race that is not Japanese, as we've seen worked out so well for Ubisoft. So,
yeah. Well,
but,
I actually, before I forget, right before we went on, I saw this tweet from Japanese Twitter about Ubisoft. And they said, I wouldn't have paid any attention if some stupid foreigner hadn't forced racism on me by saying that it was a status symbol for Japanese samurai to keep black slaves, that Yasuke was a samurai, and that the characters had light skin, etc. So Ubisoft, you might have started a race war.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
I think we're pretty sure. I think we're pretty on that. So anyway, the Japanese, the insults against Japanese were terrible. And as we read up at the top here, we'll just skip back up to the top in case there's new people here. It says, the issue of black people illustrations has gotten pretty serious. So this has been translated from Japanese to English, so there may be some gaps here, especially some lack of formality. And so it says, they changed it to black people and it's better than Japanese people. Ugly Japanese people who worship white people are criticizing it. Japanese people should get a lobotomy. And that is some of the quotes that are involved with the support of this edit that was done.
And this edit is done by a 16-year-old who is selling their art for up to like $30. That's what I found on their page, and that is getting destroyed by Japanese Twitter, and they even did community notes on it.
Sorry, there's a fire truck going by. It's quite a rare occurrence where I live. I'm out in the countryside, so when these things go by, something terrible has happened. So this writer says this guy is seriously bad. It's so bad. He called Japanese people who criticize the blackening of characters, and the racist said Japanese people should get a lobotomy. A lobotomy is now banned, an inhumane practice that involves inserting metal rods up the nose and destroying part of the brain, depriving a person of emotions. Now, again, the Japanese are applying the literal definition to that, and obviously this person was intending that the Japanese should stop talking, and that is what they meant by a lobotomy. But I do find it interesting that they went and they said that's a pretty serious accusation. So I'm glad that they register what a lobotomy is. And so this is the original quote. This is the original tweet right here. And it says, but really though, and this is again in Japanese, so it's intended for Japanese people to see.
No, this is in English, but they have the Japanese translation below.
I'm sorry. I thought it was above. My bad.
Yeah.
But really though, this is an insane and crazy way to act over some fan art. I really hope they heal or get a lobotomy or whatever. And that is a crazy thing to say about a piece of art online that isn't really, culturally important, I guess. It's not the Mona Lisa.
No,
right?
and it's usually goes in one direction. It's the double standard. It's almost never happens when there's a when it's a whitewash, there's death threats. Always.
Right.
But when it's a blackwash, like there's praise for it from these people.
Some of the influencers that I watch over in Japan were talking about this Western English speaking sentiment right now because of actions like this, the Johnny Somali thing, as well as like the cultural abuse of Japan. And then of course, Rahm Emanuel, our ambassador, doing everything he did with their government. There's a lot of anti-American, anti-English speaker, anti-West sentiment at the moment. So when this person says this statement right here, he says, Japan was right to close its borders for a long time and develop its own culture and ethics. I can't have, so this person is they're quote tweeting this thing. And so this guy is right. This is a sentiment that's shared by a lot of Japanese at the moment. Not everybody. There's a great deal of people that are growing very resentful of the West as the pressure continues to fall upon Japan to conform to things that are totally foreign to them and have nothing to do with their culture whatsoever. It isn't like this stuff is showing up on their shore. It's literally being forced on them through the internet. And so this person is quote tweeting someone who writes, I can't help but think they're crazy. They steal other people's creative works, paint them over, and post them with a smug look on their face. And then when they're criticized, they call the Japanese victim a racist. That's crazy. I'm glad I'm not one of them.
Seriously, like this is what happens all the time. I mean, we saw it with Bakub, the mangaka of Pop Team Epic. And the thing that's ironic about it is Pop Team Epic takes a lot of inspiration from Western, media. And there's a lot of Japanese anime and manga that takes inspiration from American culture. So that's like, it's just a slap in the face to them when this happens. And My Hero Academia is a great example of this. My Hero Academia takes inspiration from Marvel Comics. So when you see this kind of thing, it's like, damn, it's a huge slap in the face.
They locked their tweets.
Oh, did they go protected?
Yeah, check it out. I went to check the image, get a bigger picture. It's gone. They locked their tweets.
Oh, the 16-year-old did?
Whoever did that Ochako one.
Oh, the Ochako one did. That wasn't the 16-year-old. That was a different person.
And so this meme kind of encapsulates what we're talking about.
Yeah, the top one is the one done by the Pop Team Epic mangaka that was sent death threats by these people.
Right. And this is what happens is they redraw these characters with African American traits, not African traits. Let me make that clear. And they go through all of this just to avoid having to make a new character. Look at all the character design they put into these characters, redrawing these things or drawing over them, rather than creating a wholly and entirely new character. It gets on my nerves because there's a lot of creativity involved. It's just absolutely wasted. It absolutely is wasted.
And a good chunk of the time, these people, probably it's because these people can't even draw.
It could be. It could be that too. There's a lot of people, I remember going to school with kids that traced over stuff and claimed that they were doing it. That one picture of Goku that went around the internet forever of him flying at the POV and he's got his two fingers kind of wound up in the fist in the back,
Yeah.
That one. Everybody could draw that one perfectly, but not any other Goku. So this person writes, seriously, in the last 2 days alone, I've seen over 5,000 hate speeches from overseas. This is hate speech post. Again, it's translated from Japanese, so it's going to be a little up and down. 5,000 hate speeches from overseas insulting the appearance of Japanese people, saying things like, you're a self-hater who draws anime characters as white and wants to be white, but you're actually ugly, and it's driving me crazy.
Well, yeah, something that's common amongst these people, and some white people do it too, is that they believe that all Japanese anime characters are white. And then there's the sentiment that all Japanese anime characters that have any melanin in them are automatically black. And for some reason, green characters are black coded, which I do not understand that sentiment.
I still can't figure out how Piccolo's black. He's a demon. Why would you want to claim that? It's like, I don't want Hellboy to be a white guy. He's a demon. I'm not like, that's a white dude with his big white man hand. No, that's a demon. Literally grows horns out of his head. That's a demon. I have no idea why people look at Piccolo and go, hey, Demon King Piccolo. That's a black guy. What? He's green. He has antenna. He doesn't even have a penis. You remember that? They're all asexual. They puke eggs up. Why? It's really weird that they really want Piccolo so bad. He doesn't even have a penis. It's really weird. Yeah, he's a demon. It's been revealed that the Namekians were demons that escaped hell and went out into space.
Yeah, it was in Dragon Ball Daima that basically revealed that almost any being with the pointed ear is a demon, and then they confirmed that Namekians are demons.
Yeah. So Demon King Piccolo, full circle.
Yeah,
You know,
when I saw
be,
that, I lost my mind.
Right, it used to be this scary thing that he called himself, the original Piccolo. He called himself, and you know, like, "Ooh, I'm scary because I'm green and I have antenna. I'm obviously a demon with my pointy teeth. The demon King Piccolo." And then Kami was like, "Nah, we're aliens," and I split apart from him because he's an asshole. And the whole thing fell apart now, and it's just come back full circle to they're demons. That's it. It's over with. They all escaped somehow. And that was that. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just feel like it kind of took the uniqueness of the Namekian final battle away, you know, with Goku, and because they were fighting to save demons, you know, or enslave demons. And now I'm kind of like, that's annoying, you know? Like the Namekians were kind of neat. They were just like a bunch of dudes. There were no lady Namekians. They were just a bunch of bros out in space broing it up.
Well, we don't know. We don't know the full reason why. Well, no, we don't know for sure if it was Majin Buu that drove them out or not. But we know Majin Buu was causing a lot of hell.
Oh, that's
in the Demon Realm. We don't know the full story about that yet.
Well, anyway, back to this mess.
Yeah.
So this person writes, the overseas voice actor is expressing his support for blackening the characters, which is a blasphemy against the original work and racism that excludes Japanese people. He changed his X account icon image to a hate image of blackening the characters, which excludes Japanese people, expressing his blasphemy against the original work and discriminating against Japanese people. This is an international issue. Officials should remove this voice actor immediately. And I don't disagree. As a professional, like my family ran businesses, and so one of the things is you don't discuss your politics as a business owner. That's how you kill off customers, right? That's how you end your business. So my family had countryside taxi service. So there was a bunch of different vehicles. We never put any political bumper stickers on there. We never had any road signs that like the little lawn signs you stab down in to tell who you're gonna vote for. Never had any of those growing up. People would call up and they'd want to know, and we wouldn't tell them. They'd ask in the car. You don't tell them, that kind of thing. And that's what you got to do when you're a professional. When you transcend out of being a private individual and then you start working for a company, you kind of have to be like on work hours, especially when you make your work your persona, like a voice actor. This guy is labeling himself a voice actor right there on his profile. If he wants to go shoot his mouth off and be part of this, he can make an alt. They do it all the time. I'm pretty sure Trump has alts. You know, I'm still not sure that Greg isn't a Baron Trump alt. You know Greg. Everybody knows Greg. But I'm still not convinced that's not a Baron Trump alt. So, this guy could have easily have made an alt and participated in this and not drug his professional account into this, and thereby implicating a professional thumbs up to what's happening here, meaning the company, because he's a representative of that, given that he's contracted with them to voice the character who was race swapped. It is such a huge mess when these people simply don't think 10 minutes into the future. I'm sorry, you sign a contract to be a voice actor, to be an actor, to be any type of representative of a company, like in that fashion, that your talent is what sells the thing. It's not a product like a toy or whatever. It's your actual voice, your actual appearance, whatever. You have to surrender part of your freedom about that. That's just how it works. If you want to be successful and to appeal to as many people as possible, you have to cut out your politics. You just have to. It's why celebrities used to not invest in this stuff publicly, unless it was a big issue. Not this. This is not a big issue.
Well, it wouldn't be a big issue if it didn't go international like this.
Well, it has become a big issue, I guess.
Yeah.
So we have Damian Wayne, defense lawyer, whatever, someone who's very self-important. And it says that effing part because that Japanese person is 6'5" with blonde hair and blue eyes. Swear to God, a conversation does need to have about Eurocentric features of these characters that don't have a certain setting. Fantasy story, but it's strictly medieval Europe. Apparently preference is a problem now. If you're making anime, you have to make anime about every time that ever happened ever. I don't know. I will admit this, okay? And historically, the Japanese depicted themselves in a very similar manner to how the Chinese depict themselves, with a more golden hue to their flesh color in their art, until they encountered the Dutch, and it seemed almost like an instantaneous change, and the Japanese started depicting themselves as Snow White, very pale.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, that's how it remained. And that, I'm not sure how that went down, what the Dutch told them, but it clearly has left a very deep mark on them. And some medical journal about 3 years ago defined the Japanese as white now. So,
God.
yeah. And it's not like a big, profound thing, but it was a medical journal it wasn't like a medical journal that said, from now on, this is the truth. It was putting forward the genetic theory that they are no longer considered East Asian. I think that's how they're defined. East Asian.
They're defined as East Asian. It's, it's Japan, China, and Koreans are part of East Asia.
Yep. And so that's been like a thing that's gone around.
Yeah, they're trying to do like the whole fucking white adjacent shit with Japanese
because
they're successful.
Because everybody has to be in a category. They can't just be people. It's too hard, I guess. It's just too hard to be like, that's Naruto. He's a ninja. The end, you have to be like, he's a ninja with blonde hair and blue eyes living in a Japanese ninja village. That's racist.
Naruto's white, though. Like, everyone knows Naruto's white, and Luffy, and Oda said if Luffy was in our world, he would be Brazilian. Like, this person's argument is so moot. Like, the only one that is technically Japanese out of the three is Ichigo.
Look at you. But again, I mean, that's the thing, is that, Ichigo, I think he's half, right? He's half Japanese, half, like, Irish, right?
No, he's half Quincy, half Shinigami, technically.
I was just trying to, like, put together, his mom has blazing red hair and blue eyes. That's so.
But still, it's just like, for the most part, he's Japanese.
Yeah.
He did.
Nerdigans brought this up. Yeah, that this person fled to Blue Sky in order to be among their kind.
Yeah, and to be away from the racists. And I've seen stuff on the replies to me were like, yeah, we're going to go follow him and we're going to go after him there.
Look at this. Like, this has to be a joke. Y'all got to stop drawing yourselves to look like white people in them mangas and animes before you talk tough first, Pookie. This can't be real.
This is real. These people are that stupid. I've seen so many people say this.
In them mangas and animes?
Well, not in that kind of style, but still, like, what I mean is overall, where they're saying that these people believe that anyone that does not have melanin in their skin is considered white in anime and manga.
Man, it is going to really blow their minds when they figure out that Akira Toriyama said that the pinnacle of power was a blonde dude with blue eyes. It's really going to blow their mind.
These people are so dumb. I'm not arguing with you white supremacist anime fans. Y'all be easy, though. Dude, these people are so racist.
Be Japanese, be nuked twice, be told you can't have an army, be subjugated to the American economy, then be told you're a racist because it all happened before you were born. Wow! Holy shit! Amazing!
But but then there's they believe they were samurais and shiz, though.
Right, that's the other thing.
We was samurai and shiz.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. These hoteps are on another planet. They're so out there. Did Cider freeze? Uh-oh. I hope he did not freeze on me. That'd be all bad if he froze. If he did, it is what it is. I do have it on the page that we're on my end. It just sucks that I can't share the screen because he is in full control. Let's see. Here we go. Actually, let me check something real quick to make sure it's not me that is frozen. Oh, Cider said his power went out. Oh my god. Okay, so hopefully I could still do the. Hopefully the stream won't shut down. Okay, good. Oh, I can maybe show this now. Let's see. Can I share? Okay, perfect. Hold on a second. For me. Yay! At least I wanted to. Why won't it not work? Oh, damn. I can't share the screen because Cider is not here. Well, hold on a sec. See what is happening. Oh, damn. Okay. I am just going to read what I have here. I can't share the screen. I'm really sorry. I wish I could. But this. So where we're at now here. I wish I could. Again, I'm sorry. I cannot share the screen. And let me pull the chat up here on my phone. Because I do not have the chat screen on here either. Because StreamYard is weird. And I don't know why StreamYard does this. It is weird as hell. So just give me a sec. Let's see. But yeah, it's a blackout. On Cider's end. Yeah, I can read the chat. I have it up right down here. Okay. So basically, where we left off here before Cider's power went out. Hold on, here we go. Is that what's even crazier about this whole thing is even oh, you're back. Oh, thank God.
My power went out, and I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I live on the East Coast, and my power went out. I apologize.
Do you have a backup generator?
No, it just came back. I live in a place where like the power lines are above ground.
Ah.
And so when the wind comes up, the power goes out, and that's.
Well, you gotta have a backup generator or something.
Yeah, okay.
Well, your camera's not on though.
Just a minute here. We'll get her. We'll get her up again. It'll just take a second.
But yeah, I do have chat in front of me.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you jumping in there and taking care of everything. That was very daring do of you. I appreciate it.
I wish I could, if I had the ability to share the screen, I would have done that. But yeah.
So, where did we leave? Yeah, their facial features they were angry about.
Yeah.
So they wanna now critique that the Japanese are drawing characters that look like anything at all, apparently. So because as we talked about before, you can't create the I'm sorry, I just got back from my power being out.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
basically what it was is that that anything that doesn't have melanin in it in terms of anime and manga is considered white to these people, and that anything that does have any like color in their skin is considered black to them. And then obviously the green coded, or the green people being black coded, which I don't understand. But yeah, even the Chinese and Koreans are pissed off at this. And what's even crazier now is, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but before I came on, or before we went live, we did see that the blackwasher, the 16-year-old blackwasher, is blackwashing Mama now.
Yep. It says right here, furthermore, the overseas voice actors have made the fan art into their icons. We talked about that with this person using this icon right here and changing it. This is the voice actor.
Yeah, that's before he bounced.
That character.
And it only lasted for 24 hours. And then he shaved and whitewashed it. And then after more, he just bounced. And then I think Inaris is his girlfriend or his waifu, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But yeah, she's the voice actress for Mirko, and she changed her profile to the blackwashed Momo. She hasn't bounced yet. She's dealt with a lot of this. She has a huge proponent of blackwashing. So this doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, even Gyaru is considered characters that are Gyarus or / gals. They are considered black. Like it's.
Well, right here it says Dan was successfully used as a political purpose. For some reason, Japanese people are being criticized.
I wish Dandadan would have never gone mainstream. I didn't realize it was going to be this insane. Like they're saying, like in the opening song, that there's moves used from like a Rihanna video, and that there's like some rap or hip hop in there, and that automatically makes it black. And I'm just like, what? Come on.
Take a look at this.
Making personal renditions. Black artists making personal renditions of their favorite things is not the same as whitewashing. Whitewashing seeks to erase a character's race. There's a history of black characters being excluded from a lot of places. Unlike when whitewashing happens, people aren't being spiteful. So don't let me catch you complaining about blackwashing. Go to therapy or something.
Said the man screaming about the situation at hand into a camera.
Says it sounds like pure projection.
Black artists make
it's pretty uncomfortable how these guys get down. You know what I mean? It's pretty backward. This is we have Jazz Solar here. He says, "I wish anime in general never got mainstream." It's part of the problem, really, part of the problem. But in another way, it's also like a learning curve for a lot of these people who have been told diversity matters, except until it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah.
And so they're getting kind of their comeuppance from, you know, their source of media, and they think they're going to win this battle, but they're not.
Well, they've also been told that black people can't be racist.
Right. And here we are with the world preferring Japanese anime over victim complexes. So we have Ash here, and Ash says, "I understand that whitewashing is discriminatory, but isn't it strange that people get angry when black people are whitewashed, even a little, but praise Asian people when they are blackwashed?" I think it's the other way around. And when white and black people talk about discrimination, do Asian people just seem to be treated as if they don't exist? And yeah, that's primarily what I want to tell people is that, you know, a lot of people have been raging about this. Here's one to bring it back to what we are on about, right? What we get on about here with bounding into comics sometimes.
And about like the xenophobia that's happening here, which I think we're going to be talking about when we get to Buttgate with 01.
There's a lot of that.
Definitely. And also, like, we talked about, I think it was a couple weeks ago, about the book bans that are happening in some of these libraries, that they're specifically targeting like Boku no Hero Academia. And it's just like at that point when you're banning manga that's like completely harmless, you got to wonder, it's like, yeah, it seems like they're just targeting Japanese media and they just want to ban it, Japanese media, from everything, at least in the school libraries.
Well, I want to bring it a little closer to home for people to kind of picture the situation at hand when they talk about discrimination. Now, you remember the big hubbub about a black Superman, right?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that people were all about getting Michael B. Jordan to play the black Superman. They're all excited about it.
Yep.
Now, you'll notice something about this lineup. One of these Supermen is not so much like the other. Can you find the Superman that is not like the other Superman?
That would be Dean Cain, right?
Correct. Dean Cain is an Asian American. His origins come from the land of the rising sun. He is cousin to Mike S. Miller, the artist behind the Injustice comic book series and the Game of Thrones comic book series. And they are proud of where they come from. But Dean also recognizes that he's an American. And this was his thinking behind accepting the role for Superman, despite not being the most traditional actor to play that role. And Dean, apart from Christopher Reeve, as he should be, Dean is my favorite Superman. I absolutely adore Dean's portrayal of Superman, and it's stuck in my head for the rest of my life. I watched that show religiously, The New Adventures of Lois and Clark, and it was very, very engaging, and Dean plays a very good Superman. The other thing is he's the only Superman with his mouth open in this one. That's the other thing. It's the smile showing. The rest of them have very stern expression. Superman's here to kick your butt. And then Dean Cain standing there like, "Hi, I'm Superman. You want a balloon animal?" You know, and He's just happy to be Superman. The rest of them are very serious about being Superman. You got Cable's Superman. It's like, I might kill a man. Who knows? I might. I'm Superman. It means hope sometimes.
Well, he has a smirk going on too. If you notice it, it's like a half smirk. So there is. It's somewhat serious, but it's like a half smirk. It's like, yeah.
But in all of that rage and anger about not having a black Superman, nobody brought up Dean Cain. Nobody wanted to acknowledge that Dean Cain had quite a celebrated role for a while as being he was the singular screen time Superman. There was not a Superman to compete with him at that time. There wasn't a movie Superman, if you will, like we have with Tyler Hoechlin. I think that's how you say it, with Tyler Hoechlin. And he's got to compete with Cable, and now with Corn is Wet. So, and Dean also plays a really good Clark Kent. That was the other thing. He played a very good Clark Kent. I just missed the 90s Superman, I guess. It just was, everything felt really right about it, I guess. Nice intersection between old world Superman and new world Superman. Something about it. But what I wanted to point out in all this is that they never consider an Asian actor for it. You know? There was never a conversation about how the Avengers didn't have an Asian representation about it. I never heard any of that. That there needed to be more black people on the Avengers. That the Wakandans need to have a greater representation. There really wasn't an effort to try and move Shang-Chi up. Granted, he doesn't, he's not exactly one of the storied characters, but there wasn't really a long conversation about making Hogan a more important character to Thor. I think we saw Hogan for like 5 minutes in the first movie. You know, and he's the Asian Viking that travels around with Thor. And there's a regular joke about like, where'd you come from? And there's the regular joke about that. And it's one of those things where like that Asian people don't exist when it comes to discrimination as far as DEI is concerned. Asian people simply don't apply. And again,
thing, well, technically, I'm going to say this too. It's the same thing for people like me who have mental illness. It's the same thing with people that suffer from chronic pain. One of our writers, Peter, he could tell you about it. I mean, my late significant other, he had fibromyalgia, so I lived with it too, technically. And anyone, I know it's starting to get a little bit more now, but like, I'm a Jew, okay? I've lived with this stuff for all my life, and it's still not taken seriously. I see more anti-Semitism online in the past decade than I did in like the first like half of my life. It's so bad. I've never seen anything like it, and it's still not taken seriously. It's not.
Well, and moreover in this one is that out of a lot of the characters too that we have in the world, there really isn't an effort to create we had that Chinese Superman that propped up, but all that was like, what if Superman was from China? It didn't revolutionize a concept or introduce a new hero into the thing. And it's one of those things that it perplexes me because of what the influence of Japan, Korea, and China has had on the U.S. over the years. Not to say that folks from India, for instance, Native Americans, as well as I'm forgetting a bunch.
Native
of
Americans do. I would say like out of to be fair, out of all races besides Asians, Native Americans I would say have it the worst. In terms of discrimination, they have it really, really bad.
Yeah, and there's a long and painful history about that, and it doesn't seem to want to get better.
No,
for a lot of reasons, I guess. But one of the things I did enjoy was Shaman King's representation.
Yeah, Shaman King's representation. Yeah,
Very
Shaman
good.
King's representation of Native Americans is fantastic, and not just Native Americans, because you mentioned Indians. Indians. Yeah, they do a really good job of that too. In Shaman King, the Superstar, you see some Indian representation there as well, and it's beautiful.
Well, and I'm just kind of going through here trying to take a look at what more they had to say. What was going on with these characters? Oh, right, these character right here. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up with all of it. I scrambled to try and get the stream going again. Brains in a lot of places. So they say, I guess black people see only Miku from Dandadan as a member of the same race. They completely ignore the character's settings and arbitrary change in her skin color and then say it's fine because it's art. They're also narrow-minded, self-centered, and don't seem to have any respect for other countries' cultures or creative works. I remember this being yelled at me when I was a kid by all sorts of leftist wackadoos from, on YouTube, out on the protests at the street corners about George Bush, that, oh, you're this color, so you have no culture, you have no semblance of culture, you steal culture from other people, and what are we
Turns
doing
out it's
here?
projection.
Yeah. And so this is
Those are gals, Gyarus.
Yeah, the Gyaru girls they've evolved over the years.
Mhm.
This has an origin, something to do with feminine fertility. I want to say it has something to do with fertility, right? Is that why they paint themselves up?
They do it. I think it's more of like a rebellion kind of thing. It's more rebellious, and because in Japan it's it's very conservative, and gals, they just want to be. It's
Oh,
I
it's in
feel
the
like
70s.
Yeah, that's when it started. Was in the 70s, so that's why it's like think of it kind of like as a Japanese counterculture kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the details behind it. Now, again, this is Google AI, so bear in mind it has some different ideas than reality. But here it is, and it says it originated in the 1970s, but it got most popular during the Y2K craze. It's a subculture mostly centered in Shibuya, and it was popularized for a TV ad for Wrangler branded jeans.
Yep.
The characteristics of it are known as distinctive, extravagant fashion and lifestyle. They also do the makeup with blonde hair and a darker complected skin. What some people might mistake as Justin Trudeau's favorite makeup color. And so they have different their subcultures behind it. They have the gothic, Gyaru,
It's
and
like
the
Lolita culture in a
Hime.
way.
A little bit like that. Yeah.
It's like kind of like the opposite, where Lolitas are trying to remain young. Like Gyarus are just trying to they're just rebelling and just going against the grain in just a what they consider to be a more fashionable way.
Yeah, it feels an awful lot like those punk girls that weren't ready to fully commit to being like my parents hate me in the 80s, but they just wanted to piss off their parents.
Yeah, that's why I said it's like a
disgusting.
rebellious. It's a rebellious kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same with Lolitas. Lolitas are very rebellious to growing up, just in a different way.
Mm. And so they are now accusing.
Oh, there's someone in the chat said that it's not Shibuya. It's mostly in Harajuku.
Oh, the Harajuku girls. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So it originated in Shibuya and just sort of set up shop in Harajuku. Then, well, Harajuku is pretty popular to begin with, so yeah.
But yeah, this is what I was talking about in terms of the opening, comparing it to Rihanna. It's an edit. Like this is kind of like what happened with Genshin Impact. They made an edit. It's like a bad edit, and they're comparing it to. It's so dumb. I don't understand how people keep falling for this.
This person says the opening of the anime Dandadan is currently taking the world by storm. In this scene, which is only 2 seconds long, the main character and Rihanna dance in the same scene. Some people overseas claim that black culture is carrying anime on its shoulders. Are they stupid?
Yes, they're that stupid. They believe that black people are carrying anime on their shoulders. This is the We Was Samurai and Shiz situation.
What I have to point out is that much like the girl on the roller skates admitted when she was forced to acknowledge that Genshin did not steal her moves or whatever it was, their Hoyoverse didn't steal her moves. She likewise, choreographers, they don't just dream these body movements up and no other human has ever made them before. There are videos on YouTube that walk people through all kinds of choreography. There's actually YouTubers that dedicate their channels to inventing choreography. And I assure you, that's where a lot of these people making these anime intros where characters are dancing are getting their moves from. You want to know why? Because in a music video, there's a ton of scene changes, a ton of camera angle shifts. But guess what? when there's a choreographer trying to walk you through the movements, there's a lot of slow movements, a lot of posing, and the camera is stationary. And that makes it very easy for an artist to take inspiration from and perhaps lift poses from. There's nothing wrong with either of uses of those. But I just want to reassure people that Rihanna's movements are not like unique and only able for Rihanna to be able to do. It blows my mind that like person on roller skates moving to boogie music is somehow impossible to replicate in any way, shape, or form. It blows my mind. Well, yeah, you know, they're very concerned more about just the fact that Rihanna is black and that an anime character is moving in a similar manner. They're not really interested in the history of it or really the actuality of the reality that they're looking at. They're really more obsessed with the victim complex of, oh, look, here's another culture ripping off mine.
And they're not even anime fans either. They're a bunch of tourists doing it.
Right. Apparently someone appeared after watching the opening of Dandadan and said something stupid like black culture is what supports anime. But since when have black people started claiming that the culture of other countries is the origin, which means that they created it is what they're trying to express? That's cultural appropriation to another country.
And ironically, they're the ones that keep bitching about cultural appropriation, right?
Mm. And of course, we'll have to wait for this to translate. So this is what are the problems with the Western political sphere is what this title of this section is. It says, I guess it's a good thing that the Yasuke incident and the black character scandal in Dandadan have made more Japanese people aware of how terrible Western political correctness is and the seriousness of discrimination. Japan shouldn't imitate them. Now, we ran into this head on with the European censors when it came to the Pokemon games.
Oh, God,
they were crazy.
Oh, my God, they were. Like, when we saw the stuff for the Pokemon hairstyles, we thought that it was going to be the US that was demanding it, but no, it was Europe demanding it.
And Jinx.
It was the weirdest thing. And Jinx, it's just like, really?
Yep,
Really?
you were telling us about that Pikachu that had his right arm up and they accused
that
that
was
of being a
Nazi.
salute. Right, even though in Japan they do that. Tokusatsu's all the time doing that salute. It has absolutely nothing to do. I'll give you this too. Kamen Rider.
With Flannery too, with the Kamen Rider pose, and
Right.
that was considered Nazi. Like
Correct.
specific
Kamen
outfits.
Rider murdered Starfish Hitler. Okay, so that's how he feels about anything from that part of time. All right, he murdered Starfish Hitler. So,
But like even
there you go.
specific outfits, they're like, oh, this is white supremacist stuff. Oh, this is Nazi stuff. It's like, what? And Jacob came in at a perfect time because like we could if there's nothing else in that portion, we could talk about like the blackwash Wicked fan art. Especially nah.
Okay.
I guess not.
There he goes. He didn't want to talk about it.
Guess not.
So they're blackwashing Wicked as well. So that's great. That's
Yeah, like this is so wild. This is what I mean by the green coding stuff, or the green people being black coded. Like, it's just Jacob. Can you explain why green people are
wrong
black
mic.
coded?
Who, me or her?
You. Your mic is scratchy and distant.
That's definitely not my mic.
I think it's coming from your I think your headphones are being picked up, not your.
No, give me one second.
It just sounds really crunchy, right? Was that me? Did you hear it? Am I crazy? I'm crazy, apparently. Strange that they have no problem with race swapping in film and games. Well, it's only that it goes one way. It can only race swap one way. You're never going to see Ryan Gosling play Black Panther unless someone's going to like peel the flesh off of him in that scene. There's no way that's going to happen.
No, they're fine with ginger erasure.
Yep.
They're fine with that.
Yep.
And the thing
as
that's
I was just going to say, as we said about the Superman thing, they don't want to acknowledge that an Asian man played Superman, and he was uncontested for almost 10 years in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Is he really Asian, though? Yeah, that's what they're
he's
going to
half
say.
Asian.
Well, Yeah, he's like 100% Texan though. So, by the way, Dean Cain voices the Horseman in the Ripper versus Horseman. And
I'm pretty sure that decision upset a few people. That Dean
well, here's the
Cain
thing. Well, the craziest thing is Ripper didn't call him up and be like, "Hey, Dean Cain, you doing anything this weekend?" It's the other way around. Dean Cain called up and he says, "Hey, Ripper, what can we do with this Horseman thing? I like what you're doing here. I want to be a part of it."
Yep.
I'm not kidding you. Dean Cain invited himself to the Ripperverse. How about that, right? Superman shows up on your door and says, "How can I help you, Mr. Eric July?" That's awesome. I would definitely write home to Mom about that. I'd definitely be like, "Guess what? Superman showed up and asked for my help. Asked for a job."
Or if you want to be an a-hole, just be like, "Hey, that guy from that one obscure episode of Charm just came to my neighborhood one day."
Do you remember Supergirl's stupid adopted dad? Yeah, he's working for me now.
Yep.
But,
how's it going?
Oh, they're going to be doing a lot with Harry Potter. I guarantee you there will be a lot of making fun of trans. So you will have like the Death Eater trans people, definitely. And there'll be a spell that exposes them as men. Like they'll travel behind a piece of glass that's enchanted, and you know how it warps the face like a fun house? They'll just turn into a dude when they go behind that, and then the other side they're back to being the sexy lady again. And Harry will be like, because again, she's not going to hold back. She's not. Yep. She went after the government of Scotland over this. There is no way that she's not putting in a scene where Harry exposes a trans Death Eater. There's no way. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Draco Malfoy's dad is a crossdresser in the story. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
I wouldn't be either. But Jacob, can you explain why Black people see green people as Black?
I mean, Black people just look for anything that they can glob onto for their identitarian purposes at this point. I mean, this goes into quite literally the whole like 3 drops rule. Like, I mean, if you go all the way back to it, I mean, these are the same people who were upset at Tiger Woods because Tiger Woods didn't want to identify as solely Black, even though he was biracial many, many years ago. And people are still slighted by that to this very day. But it's I don't understand. Well, I mean, look, you can look at it from like one perspective. It's like, yeah, the actress that's playing her is Black, so now all of a sudden they're gonna latch on this Black identity to a. I mean, it's a revision on top of a revision in many instances here. I guess you're talking about Wicked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially what it is. It's a revision on top of a revision of the Wizard of Oz. So now we're at like 3rd-tier revisionism with this whole series.
Well, the thing is, with this situation, though, she's not even the first Black actress to play her. Like, I think she's like, what, the 2nd or 3rd Black actress?
Or are we not counting The Wiz?
I think.
By the way,
no, I'm talking about Wicked, like the stage play in particular.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say, by the way, they are still working on a remake of The Wiz, which I can only shudder to think.
Just leave The Wiz alone. Like, come on, The Wiz is fine as it is. And I know that rhymed.
How do you make The Wiz without Michael Jackson? He's like 90% of that movie, and the other 10% was that really cool lady dancing around in the factory.
Oh man, this whole Hollywood's just so done. It's so over. It's never been more over than it is right now.
Do you think they'll get Chris Rock to do it?
Chris Tucker. Maybe Chris Tucker will do it.
Chris Rock and Chris Tucker are both in The Wiz, and they're playing the same character, and you have to guess which is which and when.
They're just playing the character at separate times and not acknowledging that it's 2 different people playing the character.
Inexplicably, he grows like a foot taller in one scene, and the next scene he's back being short again.
He just starts talking in like a high pitch for like no reason. It's a whole thing.
We do have Dolified. Just want to let everybody know that Dolified's been here since we went live. I know that Black Pill alumni will appreciate seeing this person come along here. They're in China right now, so that's cool.
Or is that another Asian country? I don't know. I get moments.
Daisy has to win.
No,
Daisy would be Jay-Z would be the cowardly lion at this point because of his
Yeah, who peed
dreadlocks.
on a woman? Which one was the one that
That
peed on
would
a
be
lady?
That was R.
R.
Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah, R. Kelly would be the whiz. Yeah.
Could you imagine like a Blumhouse like horror movie about surviving prison with Diddy? Like, can you just like imagine like the trailer? just a bunch of dudes trying not to get raped by Diddy in jail.
Well, just wait. Like the Wayans brothers have come back for another scary movie. You know
Oh
that, right?
God,
They got
I
hired
could see
back for it.
Oh God, I could see
So
them doing like
that's gonna be a
parody.
scene. There's gonna be a Diddy character holding 2 baby oils, doing a little dance, like it's party time, boys, and
I
he
can
falls off
see
a
it.
building or something.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can totally see it. Yeah.
he's the wizard. Yeah, he's a wizard, all right.
We got the Diddler, the Wizard. What will Jay-Z be? I mean, yeah, there's got to be some kind of euphemism.
He's the
about...
witch.
No, that'd have to be
He's the witch.
Beyonce. That'd have to be Beyonce.
Why? Why not just put him in a dress and give him a witch's hat? He'd be happy as hell.
Could you imagine like just transcribe like Jay-Z on Zordon's face, but give him even bigger lips? There's a site for you.
Oh, speaking of, did you want to show the
Mighty
the
Morphin
Ranger?
Wakanda Rangers, huh?
Speaking of, did you want to
Mighty Morphin Brooklyn Rangers.
Hey, it's an isekai.
We need baby oil power now.
Yeah, a bunch of Bed-Stuy Power Rangers. It's like,
Oh God.
fighting crime at your local bodega.
Fighting crime at your local Waffle House.
And then, of course, one of them has to get shot by a cop because it's Brooklyn. So,
Well, speaking of Power Rangers, we do have a trailer for the Red Ranger Isekai. Now, if you don't know, a quick overview of this is what if a red Super Sentai hero was transported back into an Isekai setting and kept all of his tropes?
oh, this should be.
Yes, Katuna!
Kadokawa, by the way, still not owned by Sony. Just want to let you know.
Not yet.
魔法の力で世界中の人々を笑顔にする。それが私の夢よ。
Put those away, you harlot.
I was going to say, those are the second biggest boobs in Sentai.
この事態を収めるのは王女の私の責務。
あなたの剣は私一人で十分です。私はあなたの勇者ですから。あんたもいい絆持ってるじゃねえか、ロジー。信じろ。
I really love the character design.
I love
they
Kazuna
nailed
Red.
it.
I hope we get to see Kazuna Black in this season because Kazuna Black is badass as hell. For those of you that have read the manga, know exactly what I'm talking about.
絆を。なんだあれ。魔王族。
Oh, the villains are so good.
赤いのね。
Piedmon.
Well, we're taken down, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the Egyptian Sentai.
Oh, she has one of the talismans from Legends of the Hidden Temple. Now she can get past the temple guard.
She's a silver monkey.
Yep.
Silver monkey.
That was my favorite team in Legend of the Hidden Temple, by the
Oh,
way. I
yeah.
always rooted.
I prefer the Red Jaguars.
Okay, all right, that's fair. You got one right here. Here's a red jaguar. So, take for a minute and just rewind back to the original premise. It's an isekai. It's a fantasy setting based on medieval Europe, where everything's made out of wood and stone. And then an 80-foot robot shooting a beam of sunlight that incinerates everything in its path just wanders over the horizon to do battle with a demonic giant that exploded out of a huge gas cloud. Okay, this is your average day in an episode of this anime. It's great. I absolutely can't wait for it.
The levels of PTSD that were created by this single event is immeasurable.
And based on where it's at, based on parts of the trailer, I really think we're going to get Kazuna Black, which will be amazing because Kazuna Black is like the best form. If you've read the manga, you know.
We all know as long as we can get Johnny Yambosh as the Black Ranger, that's all that it really needs. That's
For
just
the
cherry
dub?
on top. Yeah.
Oh, if Johnny and Bosch voices Kazuna Red in the dub, that would be so awesome. I could picture.
Well, we want him to
doing
do
that.
Kazuno Black.
Well, yeah,
because he's a Black Ranger.
Well, yeah, Kazuna Red turns into he has the Kazuna Red and the Kazuna Black. He does both. So he would be voicing the same. He would be voicing Kazuna Red.
Two different voice actors, just like Chris Rock and that other guy. Be great.
Chris Tucker.
So we should get on to talking about butts.
Let's go.
We've carried this weight, we've climbed this hill. Candles flicker, shadows fall. But I feel a little hope in it all. Pull up a chair, pass the bread. Raise a glass to the year we've had. We lost some, we gained some, love still near. So we sing through the dark, make it loud, make it clear. We'll be alright, we gon' be alright. Through the storm, through the fight, yeah, we'll be alright. Hold tight, we gon' sing tonight. It's Christmas, yeah, and we'll be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Through the cold and the fire, we'll hold on tight. Oh, we gon' be alright. Yeah, we'll be alright. It's Christmas, yeah, and we'll be alright.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Here at Bounding, we got you a present. Chris Evans is back as Captain America. Aren't you so excited?
We spent 5 days arguing about a girl's butt.
I guess Luna was too bootylicious for them.
I'm just glad to be here, really. Aren't you?
I'd be
Apparently
happy.
not. Dead silence.
If I could find the window, I would be much happier to be here. I was trying to pop up the chat and everything. But no, of course I'm happy to be here. It's Wednesday. I'm with 3 of my favorite people. I just got done listening to you guys do Tokyo Happy Hour, which I'm glad you guys covered that Dan stuff because I don't have it in me. I'm just sort of at that point where it's send them all into the sun. Just send everybody in. You know what? Send Dan into the sun at this point. I don't even care. Just throw everything out because somebody in our chat earlier said the worst thing to happen to anime was it becoming mainstream. And I 1000%, 100,000% agree. Like Cider, a lot of people lately, obviously in the last few years with, media becoming more accessible and stuff, a lot of people are like, let's start dubbing Sentai. Let's bring Sentai over. And I'm like, no, leave it alone. I don't want American fan bases glomming onto this. It's going to be terrible. You think the fangirls are bad now about Kamen Rider W? It's going to get worse once the American Fujos get their hand on it.
Well, I watched a Kamen Rider W wedding the other day, and it was this close to cringe. It was this close. And I was like, there's no way an English speaker can pull this off. There's absolutely no way a man and wife who very much love each other can pull this off in English. And then speaking Japanese while doing it will make it even worse. There's just no way. The only thing I can figure your Kamen Rider wedding could really be is to have people dress up and introduce you as you come in. Like somebody on a motorcycle comes in, that's a ring bearer. Is the Kamen Rider brings you a ring bearer on the motorcycle. That would be all right. and then your cake topper is the henshin device. So in order to
like
cut,
that, right?
Yeah, something like that. But like this guy was like full on Kamen Rider W. He and his wife did the transformation, and then she faints into his arms. And that's how they do the I do thing at the end of he says I do, and he does the W thing, and she falls into his arms, and it's like,
I guess it's a suit for them, but like, yeah, I'm kind of with you here, Cider. Like I heard Nerdigan's but I'm on the party where it's like, I'm not against people being nerds. I'm not against people enjoying what they like, but it's sort of like time and place. And then
I'm not against anyone enjoying what they like, but I think you guys need to enjoy it a lot less.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like I remember there's this infamous photo of like a Legend of Zelda themed wedding that some people did like 10 years ago, where like all the groomsmen are dressed up as Link and all the bridesmaids as Zelda. And I'm just sort of like, suits would have been a little bit better there, guys. Suits would have been a little bit better there. So
it's just getting a little bit cringe.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would be cool if Cider, like they had like the groom's like suit maybe had like the colors, and then the wedding dress was like themed after it or something, and then maybe you play like the music, and then maybe like right when you say like I do, you guys do like the pose, right? Don't go crazy, but you just do that little like, yeah, we did it, and then that's okay. Like, but yeah, going all out like that, I don't think I could do it. Although Hideaki Anno, the guy who made Evan Hellion, he actually did get married in a full Rider 1 suit, minus the helmet, so that they could take pictures.
That is awesome. That's total dedication, and I mean, he is the creator of it, so it totally.
No, he's not the creator of Kamen Rider.
No,
He's
I thought.
the creator of Ava.
I thought you said Ava, an Ava suit. I'm sorry.
No. He's the creator of Ava, but he got married in a full first Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider 1.
I misheard you. Okay,
Yeah. No worries.
But yeah, that's still awesome though. Like,
right?
That is.
But like it's funny because like everything else about the wedding was completely normal. So like his wife had a normal dress. They were at a very nice venue. Everybody dressed up. It was lovely. But he's just standing in all of his photos in a full Kamen Rider suit. So like there's a level of it where if you're like that hardcore and everything else is normal, it's like you guys said, there's levels to everything. And I guess it's all just I feel like I'm what do you call it? Like the obscenity law in America. Like I don't know what's cringe by definition, but I know it when I see it.
We're gonna have to have cringe laws. I guarantee it. We're definitely gonna have to have cringe laws.
We're gonna have to have cringe floggings.
We're gonna have cringe floggings and cringe law. It's gonna go one of two ways. In 5 or 10 years, depending on like where the culture is, we're either gonna have like cringe floggings where it's like I saw you upload that video where you were pretending to be Luke Skywalker. Get over here. That's a paddle-in, just one paddle-in. Or it's going to be cringe laws where, you're not allowed to repost my cringe. If anybody's reposting a video of me or something, I want it like you're in trouble or whatever because of all those stupid laws. But either way, cringe.
We should absolutely have cringe Sharia. I agree. Cringe Sharia law, right? That's the only way we apply Sharia is just in cases of nerd cringe.
Does that entail making everybody cringe?
No, that's the other way around. You police the cringe with the Sharia law, right? You have to cast people off buildings for walking around.
You get caught up in the cringe police.
Anybody who like
do you remember the vegan police from Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah,
it's just like that. It's just like that.
No, and I'm trying to think of like who they would be going after specifically. It'd be like
can we do police brutality against vegans and leaves? I sign up for that force.
Against the leaves, 100%. I'm down to. We should just take it to Canada right now.
Them too. There
you go. So vegans, weaves, and leaves. Gotta go. There it is. It's a slogan. It's perfect.
Just give me a nightstick, and the problem will solve itself.
Trump's do anti-cringe league.
I was gonna say Taurus. Go after the like. We need to do something that's happening in the video game and anime. Well, I should say nerd sphere. That'd be a better way to word it. Is there's a lot more gatekeeping going on. I don't know if you guys have noticed it.
We love to hear it. We need more of that. You need to tell those people that aren't here to participate in the thing to go somewhere else and stink it up. Not here.
Yeah, tell them pepper spray them in the face. They're getting near you.
That worked out well for Nick Fuentes. He's in jail right now, so that worked out really well for him.
So we have a question, 2 questions here, or same question, 2 people, Sakura and Leslie are asking, and I didn't realize this either, but are we streaming on Christmas Day? I didn't realize that we are literally 2 weeks today away from Christmas.
No.
I don't think any of us talked about it. Probably no. Maybe like if Cider or I are free, we'll jump on. But yeah, everybody, maybe it's an optional day. We'll let you guys know. We'll probably be here, but we will see. That's it. Like, I legitimately haven't thought about it because I don't even know what day it is today.
I gotta work the day after Christmas. You know how sad that is.
When I was younger and I had like office jobs or retail jobs, I was fine working the day before a holiday, like on a Christmas Eve or like Thanksgiving Eve. But if it was the day after, I always got mad. Like I always got like, I became
so
like
who wants to go to bed early on the holiday?
Right.
Like,
That's exactly it. Yeah. Or it's like,
so for me, I made sure I worked for day after Christmas. I worked in the afternoons because in the morning I would go shopping and get the sales.
Yeah, they don't really have sales. I was
Not
talking
anymore.
with a friend and like,
do they
Black
still have
Friday
malls?
this year
Those remember malls were a thing?
I saw some weird like nostalgia post on Twitter. Obviously, it was just for engagement, like bucks or whatever. But somebody posted a video of a mall from like 1988, and they were like, "What happened to America? Why aren't we like this anymore?" And it's like, shut up! Like, I know what you're doing, but be quiet. We all know why it's not like that anymore.
Like, you know why?
Yeah, exactly. You know why, and it's better.
No, but like day after Christmas, what you do is you go to like Target or Walmart and get like all their Christmas stuff for like 50% off or 75% off.
I do that with candy.
In case you didn't
every
know,
holiday.
Nerdigans is a woman.
No, I know it's not just for candy, Nerdigans. I do it for
No,
candy.
I do it for like the Ziplocs and like other Christmas themed stuff. And then also you go to something that I used to do with my mom every year is go to Bath and Body Works because all of their like holiday lotions and stuff were like dirt cheap, and those are expensive.
I'm sure.
And they're really
But, like,
really good.
I know nothing about the feminine world of beauty products or whatever, but every time, like when I've had girlfriends and I've seen the bills, I've just been like, wow. And I thought buying like a new booster box of cards was expensive.
I know what you're saying there, but just the way you word that, it's like, you know, when I've had girlfriends in the past, it just sounds so fake.
I totally have, guys. I totally have had girlfriends, okay? Bags of sand, right? That's exactly what they are. I'm not
bags of sand full of magic. Isn't that what he said? Bags of sand.
No, he just says bags of sand, and then everybody looks at him like, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, speaking of, this has nothing to do with it.
Okay, well, before we jump in, or before Cider hops us over, Don. First of all, Don is in the chat. I am insanely surprised because Don, as Cider was saying, he is an original Bounding team member. He's been gone. He's over in Asia, over in Korea or Thailand or something.
China.
It's Japan. I'm just being China either way. But he's letting us know Japan works on Christmas, but we get a week off for New Year. See, I feel like I would take that trade. I kind of feel like one day for a week that's not Golden Week, is it? Right? No, Golden Week's like in the middle of the summer, right?
Which New Year's are you celebrating now? The Chinese New Year or the Western New Year? That's the question. Chinese New Year, you're pretty deep into spring before you get a day off.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a really good point. I think Japan does like Western calendar holiday.
They do Western calendar holiday. They do Christmas and they also do New Year's.
They celebrate Christmas with KFC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
they have
they
the
do.
KFC deal, and then they also get like a cake too.
And I don't know about you, but we all know that Jesus would really love like the crispy edge chicken. We all know that Jesus would be down for people giving that to each other in his name.
You know what? There's a
he specifically would like spicy Korean barbecue.
It's true.
I was gonna say there's a genuine risk that if we like brought Jesus to today and like fed him, he would not want to go do his like missionary work because he'd just be like, oh heck yeah, like I love barbecue sauce.
Or, you know, maybe he'll just see it as an act of war, since that most of our food is poison anyway.
It's true.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say it's not modern KFC with like the the leper skin breading on it. You can't touch it without a slide. They're better every food. Have you noticed that?
They kind of
every American food we send over there, they're like, hold on, I can do it better. Here's 70,000 different versions of the Kit Kat.
Like there is that meme that's like thing Japan better, and everybody like makes fun of it. But when it comes to food, I kind of will always sort of give it to Japan, especially because like they don't put as much shit in it as we do, like the bad stuff, like the dyes and all that noise,
And the
Like, they try to
additives and all
avoid
that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot eat KFC. It would kill me. I'm allergic to everything but the chicken, in fact.
Well,
That's if the chicken is real.
That's true. If
actually
it
a
was
good
3D
point, too.
printed, I will double die because it's made out of corn.
but we can do it like that South Park episode, Cider. We'll just all get together. We'll eat the skin for you, and then you can have the boring chicken part, the
Thank
undelicious
you.
part.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah,
It's not like
Sakura-
any of that soaked into the meat at all. Or
No, not at all. It's completely a different layer. You'll be fine, I promise. Let's see. Somebody asked something in here real quick. Oh yeah, I just wanted to laugh at this because RJ McReady said malls seem to exist, but mainly to wander and let the edibles kick in. Yeah, in America, that's pretty much what a mall is nowadays. It's a place you go when you've got like 20 minutes to blow, or if you're under the age of like 21 and
Can I take just a couple of minutes just to depress Spencer for a couple minutes on here on the show?
Can't be that
Live.
hard, but yes.
I got a little video here, and I feel like only Spencer would understand this one. This is a little video of Horton Plaza back in 1999.
Oh no, yeah.
This is a full 25 years
just
ago.
Learned that it's gone. That
So here's the thing. So did they demolish the entire thing? Because what I was told, like back when I was there, is that we're gonna turn it into like a little trendy like outdoor thing, and then that failed miserably. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh, now we're gonna turn it into like a Google tech farm or something like that. Then
that
I don't know.
failed out.
So now they just demolished the whole thing.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't know if it's everything, but I know it's at least all of the over by like where the like the Levi's store was, where they had like the ice skating rink. All of that area is completely like bulldozed right now. A buddy sent me a picture the other day, and I was like you, I was like, they've been talking about this forever and never did anything, and then they finally did.
Like literally since I've left like 5 years ago, all they've done is knock down Horton Plaza and Qualcomm Stadium. So it's like what left of San Diego that I used to love is even there anymore. Like what happened to the game
world? I blame I blame the Spanos for leaving. It's their fault. They cursed San Diego.
That whole NFL saga was awful. But somebody who in the chat, somebody said, gosh, you guys are on fire tonight. But one of you guys referenced like Sam Goody and Suncoast. And this mall had a Suncoast. And I remember
I was gonna say it had a massive Sam Goodies too. Like it was literally like
that's what I was getting to. Yep.
So a little rewind here for some of you guys. Sam Goody was a place that used to be called a music store back in the day. See, back in the 90s, there was this place called Music where they had CDs, right? And then you could go in there, you could like listen to like used CDs and like buy CDs and stuff like that. And that's basically what it was. And this Sam Goody's here was literally 3 floors big. So it was a music mega store at the time period that it existed. But unfortunately, they tore it down a long time ago, and it no longer exists. So, like I said, everything you're seeing here is like literally a relic from yesteryear. Like Marvin's, it's like KB Toys. It's like
there's like a Ben and Jerry's ice cream at the top. All the restaurants are still there.
Yeah. So in 2017, I walked around Horton Plaza and I took pictures of it. I think I still have the photos that I took as well. And like literally at the time I was there, like no joke, 85% of the mall was just abandoned. Like it was just boarded up, blacked up, everything. And I literally got depressed like walking around there because I remember walking around Horton Plaza in the 90s, in the 2000s, where it looked like this, right? And then seeing it just as like a shell of itself was just absolutely depressing to look at.
Like look at that, the bookstore. They probably
remember books.
Right, like
I remember books,
things you could read. But at the top, I don't know if we'll get to that video or if this person will get there. But I remember at the top, this is how big and prominent the mall was. They had a giant plaza level, or like not plaza, but like giant upper level thing that was just an FAO Schwartz toy store.
Yep,
like a giant FAO. It's like to the left over there, like. No,
I know you're talking about.
I know you can hear me
because they turned it into like a comedy club for a little while, and then
and nobody went to it. It was really sad. But yeah, this is why malls don't exist, because we can buy everything online. Most of the malls are in cities where they're all dirty, and you don't really want to go out there anymore. And generally, like, I don't know, malls. I don't know. It's inconvenient to like get in my car, drive 30 minutes, go to a mall. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't. Right?
Do you guys even watch the intros I make?
Huh? Sometimes.
The Christmas one is full of that. It looks like just like this. It just doesn't have the time code down in the bottom. It
does.
It has
No, I know.
almost the exact same shot.
I'm pretty sure.
Then there's people walking in the mall because I know what people associate with Christmas, and that was that. Okay, the problem with just saying that malls are gone forever is that we can't really do that as a human psyche. It's why we need blue places like oceans and lakes and pools and things, so we don't go crazy.
There it is. Yeah, there it is.
Yep. And so this is what I want to stress to people is that malls will come back, but it'll be more like a socialization space.
Yes.
It'll be like these weird Logan's Run, everybody gets together, but they don't really have a reason to be there, but they're happy to be together kind of space. And that'll evolve into a shopping market again, because what this came out of was the original Greek markets. These malls were originally built out of Greek markets because they would build these permanent structures within the market spaces, and that slowly became what we understand to be a galleria of businesses.
Yep.
Yeah, and as Don's pointing out, so like in Japan, in Asia, like when I was in the Philippines a couple months ago, malls are crazy popular there still. One, because they are giant places where you can get air conditioning and not have to stand out in the like gross jungle weather, but also to what it's exactly what you guys were talking about. They use it mostly as like a hangout space. So you're like, you call up your aunt or whatever, like, hey, you want to hang out? Okay, yeah, where are we gonna go? Oh, let's go walk around the mall, and you get food and maybe you like window shop. So like in Asia, that spirit of mall is still very much alive.
The hell are you watching, Jacob?
I don't know what it will take to revive us here.
Yeah, because that's what I used to do. I don't know if you guys did that growing up, but that's what I used to do with my friends, is just go meet at the mall and just go walk around.
Well, teenagers still do that. That's sort of the joke I was making at the beginning, is like that's what teenagers still do, go to malls, but they're kind of the main ones that do, because it's the only real like social outdoor place, like Cider was saying, that they can go to, right? Like it's that or the movies. Like when I was a kid, or like when I was a teenager, I saw so many bad movies, because what else are you going to do on a Friday night? It's the only place you can really like go with your friends where your parents aren't around. So like,
is United Artists even still a thing, or are they dead?
Oh, they've got to be dead. I haven't heard that for a theater chain in forever. Like they've got to be gone.
Yeah.
But like I saw Rise of the Silver Surfer. I saw Day After Tomorrow. I saw White Noise, which is like the worst movie I've ever seen.
So this is a thing I've had in my mind for a long time. All right. And I wanted to do this for a very, very long time, is I want to take an old mall and I want to turn it into a after school youth safety zone. So you have the movie theaters, you have the mall, the places to buy things, you have the food courts, you have the ball pits, you have those spaces. But it's literally like those places that the kids go and they have those spongy pits where they do the acrobats and all that stuff. And
like the play places.
The activity spaces, but it's a mall. So you have teenagers who don't want to just hang around with skateboards and little kids that are jumping around in the sponge pits. They want to like engage in weird Degrassi conversation. So, that's what the point of this place was. So you basically said adults no. You said adults no.
Yeah.
We have adults that are supervisors and chaperones because you're not here for anything. Use your Amazon account. Get lost.
Right.
And that's what this purpose of this place would be, is kids don't have nowhere to be around the nation. They have nowhere to be. You can bring back the arcades through here. This is a strictly under 18 zone.
Oh, dude, like board games and card games are more popular than ever, and nobody has like places to play them. Like,
look at the old bookstores that are very insulated, nice and quiet. You can just board up the front door and just make these big old oak doors that open up in there. Fake oak doors, like it looks like big ceremony hall doors. And, it's an old Mr. Paperback or whatever.
A couple of notes here. One, United Artists got swallowed up in the Regal theaters a long time ago. So yes, it's no longer a thing. Two, a couple of things that I forgot to mention about the Horton Plaza videos, that all the other stores that we mentioned, you guys remember like the WB store, like back in the day, like the Disney store, the Discovery stores, like they were all there.
Yeah.
But my all-time favorite, I know Spencer's gonna get this one. It's such a low-key, simple classic: hot dog on a stick. It's just
I
simple.
love hot dog on a stick to this day. If I find one like randomly, I'm like, I have to go there right now. Goodbye.
Yeah, getting a cheese dog from hot dog on a stick, it's like there's really no better way to end your mall trip. It's just
that's exactly what I was about to say. That's how you sign off the mall. You're like, I got everything. We're good. I'm done seeing my friends. Cheese stick. Now I'm gonna go spend the rest of the night on the toilet. Let's go.
Yep.
But Sakura Mita asked, I think it was Sakura, was there a Sears there? No. And this is also a point to bring up. Sears is not like in California. Sears was not the powerhouse like entity that it was everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Like when
we say it was primarily Macy's for us at the time,
right? Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what the Sears was.
It was Macy's and Nordstrom's for us.
But that's what our Sears is in California kind of were too. They were just big department stores. Whereas like if you go Arizona, Washington, Idaho, whatever, you go to a Sears, they're like the everything store. Like you could get all your car work done there. You could buy furniture that like, you know, all of that, almost like a Costco, but with, you know, not super cheap prices. So yeah, like growing up, Sakura, everybody was always talking about Sears this, Sears that. And I remember not getting it because I'm like, it's just a department store. Like you're going to go, what's so great about it? But yeah, we didn't have that over here. We were, I don't think we had an equivalent. We had Pet Boys. I don't know.
We did have Sears where I lived in the Bay Area.
Well, we had them.
We
had them, but they weren't the big like.
They weren't that big. Like where my mom always went. My parents always like swore by Nordstrom's because if you bought anything from there, you could go there. You had a lifetime guarantee. You could go there and get it like get your clothes tailored from them. Like whether it was like the next day or like 10 years later or 20 years later. Like
that's like Costco now. Now with Costco, you can like. I've legitimately seen people like eat half of a rotisserie chicken and bring it back and be like, this chicken wasn't good. And they're like, all right, just give it over. Here's your $5 or whatever. Like they will take pretty much anything as long as it's not disgusting, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Yi Ching Lao's bringing up, you know, the malls out in Asia. They've got the big bookstores. They've got the big arcades. A lot of that has to do too, Lau, with the fact that like in America, like it's kind of like what Cider's saying, that stuff, you know, hobby places or big arcades, those are seen as really, really, really childish. Not just like for teenagers or young people, but like, oh, you want to go play Cruising USA? You're a 6-year-old. All right, weirdo. So
yeah, like, Japan, like arcades are like part of the culture, but that's not what it is here in the United States of America at all.
Like I miss cruising.
Right,
that guy's so somebody's dad.
But
grandpa by now.
Like we have. I don't know about you guys over in Maine, especially, or maybe there's one in Atlanta. But we've started in America. Round one, the big like entertainment thing from Japan has started making its way over here, which is like it's a big entertainment center where it's got like, you know, teenager level games, like just games for everybody, video games. You could go play bowling, you can watch a movie. It's just like big entertainment centers, and they're doing okay, but they're not taking off a lot.
I mean, ultimately, what killed malls ultimately was online commerce, e-commerce. You can say
1000%.
like, you know, Amazon and like places like that. But basically, once these big box stores realize that they can save a whole lot of money by not having to open physical stores and just sell their equipment online and just ship it to you, like that pretty much killed like the overwhelming majority of stores out there.
And it's sort of like, you know, if it weren't for that, genuinely, everyone, I think we would still have malls in America being prominent. We would still have somewhat of a mall culture, but with prices just being so cheap online compared to in person, and it's a selection thing too, right? Like if I go to a mall, you've only got what's there. But if I go online, you guys are pulling from every store in your catalog, and you can get it to me eventually. I don't need it, you know, immediately. Let's see. Timon says, when I was a kid, arcades were no place for kids, only 16 and up. That sounds so like
that sounds a little 80s to me. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that sounds like 80s Stranger Thing. Like, get out of here, kids. This is for this is for the 8th graders. Like,
get out of here, nerds.
Like yeah. So I can see that being a very common experience, Timon. That sucks, but I'm also kind of like, look at you living a piece of 80s life, like 80s nostalgia.
Yep.
Yeah, see, like Leslie says, we had Sears in North Carolina. Our Sears had a pet department that sold cats, dogs, fish, and birds. Not here. That would have driven me, like, as a kid, I would have loved that. But yeah, here it's just like, yeah, like a Macy's. You've got your clothes, you've got your like home furnishings and your pots. Not really that exciting.
And another thing, I think you notice like the difference between like why malls that are still active and ones that are just completely dead. I think the ones that were more active also had other things you can do. Like I said, movie theaters, arcades. Like it had a reason to go there. Even if you just didn't want to buy anything, there was still a reason to go to the mall. And for I don't know how it is like in the South or in the Midwest, but say you ones that don't have like those type of things, and all the box stores just closed, and it's like, well, then there's really no point in going to the mall.
Yeah, then why am I going out at all?
Yeah.
I'm going out to a mall to get my car broken into. Like that's pretty much what the result is at this point.
And that's what the problem is that people aren't treating it like a social space. That's these things survive around the world. Japan didn't board up. They have Amazon. They have Amazon warehouses. Korea has them. They didn't board up their malls. They treat them as social spaces. We strictly saw them as commercial spaces. And once the commercial draw was gone, we stopped frequenting them. And the whole crux of fixing this problem is reintroducing people to the fact that they can sit down around a plastic plant fountain with recycled, possibly sewer water coming back up through it, and discuss a football game that happened less than 10 minutes away from the mall itself. And we just need to remind people that that's possible again. Because we just, flatly, folks just don't really think about it. You'd stop most people on the street and say, hey, man, you want to go hang out at the mall? And they'll say, why? I don't buy anything. Like, exactly. There's food there.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
And they're like, okay, they'll just go with you. And then they're just out there and it's an open space and there's cute girls. Or if you're into guys, there's cute guys there. And you're just like, hey, yeah, all right, this doesn't suck. And that's the key to it. But it just, you can't do it in mass. You're not going to do it with flash mobs. You're not going to do it with a TV ad campaign. You've got to do it one by one. Oh my God,
remember when bikers used to take over the mall with their little critical mass things, so they were like just drive around the entire. I hate those people so much.
It's just like, dude, get out of my way. I'm trying to go to GameStop.
Yes, just throw rocks at those people.
See, we lost this huge sense of like community with the mall as well. Because at the mall in the wintertime up here in the north was another place where you could congregate. Much like you guys had to deal with the heat, you could congregate. And so we would have like if Halloween was snowed in, for instance, we would end up with feet of snow when I was growing up with Halloween. And so there wasn't a mall near me when I was growing up. I lived away, but the nearest mall would have an indoor trick or treat. So like the precursor to a trunk or treat, essentially.
I had that, yeah.
And they would have an indoor Christmas. So Santa Claus would be at the center of the mall, and there would be like the big open atrium around him and stuff like that. And you would go and visit Santa Claus inside of there. And intermingled with that were parents that just hadn't seen each other in a couple weeks or months or whatever. And so they're chatting with each other and enjoying the spirit. And like, oh, that's right, I got to go get that. You know, that kind of thing. And it just doesn't exist anymore. You saw people when they're out at like the sports things, when they're there to support their kids, you see people sitting so far apart on the bleachers.
Yeah.
It's not that they're COVID distancing. It's just, for whatever reason, the internet introduced an anonymity that carries itself into real life.
That's
you
what I was going to
say.
Yeah, my man, you hit it.
You know, and you just have to do it one by one. We're not going to be able to fix it with an ad campaign, you know, and just like we can't fix the fast food prices. We'll get into talking about butts in a minute. We're going to find out why they're big right now.
And they cannot lie.
This is, according to World Population Review, as of 2024, just a few weeks ago, this is 50 states worth of the current price of a Domino's medium cheese pizza, a McDonald's Happy Meal, McDonald's Big Mac, Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, and a Taco Bell combo meal. As it stands right now across the board, Taco Bell is going to just take all of your money and it doesn't care. So we have this organized as the cheapest to the most expensive. No, the other way. This is most expensive. Here we go. So if you live in Hawaii, I feel very bad for you. It's over with. You might as well just start eating grass, you know, for whatever reason.
I can confirm, though, that if you're in Hawaii, Costco prices are the same. So you can still go get your $1.50 hot dog.
Yeah, there you go. So meanwhile, across the board for Wisconsin, it looks like they're sporting the most expensive
Just pause just for a second. Those Taco Bell prices are just absolutely criminal. Like they should just fold as a franchise at this point. It's like nothing in Taco Bell is worth $6. I don't care. Pick any menu item. Nothing in that thing is actually worth $6. That is 50 cents to 75 cents food that they used to sell to you back then. That was the only reason why anyone went to Taco Bell, is that you can literally feed an entire family for a week for like $5.
For like nothing.
But
Or for like
Jacob,
or for like $10.
they have an elevator for your food now. It explodes when it just falls apart and just blasts you with Baja Blast and Taco Bits. Great. But so Wisconsin currently sports the most expensive fast food among these 4 options. All right. So if you're in Wisconsin, probably ought to think about cooking at home. But as far as things go, Hawaii is next in line. Of course, everything is very expensive on the Big Island. New York sporting a even $4 chicken Chick-fil-A sandwich, so that's very neat. Somehow the Chick-fil-A sandwich escapes taxation. That's very fun. So we do want to check in on where people who live on the stream are. And so we're going to check in on California because we were just talking about that. California is currently sporting the $5 Big Mac situation here, a little bit less expensive than New Jersey and New York. So if you're in California, looks like your fast food for Christmas might not break the bank unless you're going to Taco Bell. And Arizona's doing pretty well with the fast food.
We also had to
prices.
fudge those Taco Bell numbers.
It's like it's bad enough that it's like it's like $9 for like Taco Bell now, but then they still sit there and like Jew you out of all like the food. Like the food is like coming out of their paycheck. It's like put my damn meat in the damn burrito already. It's like I'm already paying $6 for this.
Yeah, no, it's
MSN broke it
the amount
down
of
with a visual for us. There we go. That's much easier to communicate.
Oh, there we go.
So here we go. As of 2024, this is comparison to 2014. So in 2014, for a Big Mac meal there, you're looking at $5.89. Now it's $9.72, a 65% increase. Burger King said you can have it your way for $6.09. Now they're telling you you need $11 to have it your way at Burger King, and it's still going to taste like a sock. 79% price increase.
Not to mention that the portion size of all this stuff was getting significantly smaller than what it was 10 years ago as well.
Wendy's steps out of line here and says for $5.89 back in 2014, Dave will serve you a fresh, never frozen patty. However, to get a hold of that same fresh, never frozen patty, it's now $11.83.
You used to be able to get 5 nuggets for $1 at Wendy's back in the day.
That's kind of where I'm like,
tastes better.
we could look at all the data, right? And like, this is so terrible. But I always go, like, to me, the silver bullet to this argument is like Subway. Back in the day, you guys remember $5 footlongs? That was their entire thing. That $5 footlong for years. Now you get 6 inches for $5. Come on down. That's our deal. Come on.
I got a turkey and ham footlong not too long ago, $10 for the same sound.
To think about
just for turkey and ham. That's not even like one of the good ones.
Well, that's why, like, when Cider brought up the chart and I saw Five Guys down there, I was like, I like recoiled because not only is that mad expensive, but it's not worth it. Five Guys is like nothing. It's so I don't know. It's nothing. It's not worth that price.
Then here's the other one.
Grease. Like, that's all it is straight up grease.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, Nerdigans. It's just like.
So here's the other great one too. The Carl's Jr. used to have this thing called the $6 burger, and it's literally the entire marketing campaign of the $6 burger. It's like, oh, it's a restaurant style burger that you can pay for less than $6, and now that thing is like what, like $10, $11 now.
Crazy.
Yeah,
So
Don pays 500 yen for lunch. Like, I want to cry at that idea.
Yeah, right.
Look, if you're a parent out there, you want your kid to understand how inflation works, give them like a cheeseburger, right? And tell them this is what a cheeseburger was 20 years ago. It's like, do you want a cheeseburger right now? It's like, okay, great. Then what you do is you take out a knife and you literally cut out like 36% of the burger and then give it to them. It's like, this is what a cheeseburger costs now. And when they ask them why, explain inflation.
Well, I was going to say Carl's Jr. apparently owes some back child support, so they have a 121% uptick in their price here. And Five Guys, for whatever reason, believes that you need to leave $20 on their countertop for whatever the hell it is they're trying to pass off as a burger. Okay,
For grease.
It's just
amazing.
No.
Amazing.
And that's just for a regular burger. That's not even for like a double burger or a cheeseburger or a bacon burger.
Yeah,
Which is even more grease.
So
it's not good food. I'm not a fan of Five Guys, and whenever anybody's like, "That's my favorite one," I just immediately assume you lost your tongue in Vietnam. Like that's the only explanation you can have.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Meanwhile, over here though, we have Bidenomics in action. 2019, a $5 foot long was $5.50. In 2024, just short 5 years later, for the $5 foot long, it is $8.49 to put your hands on Jared's $5 foot long.
And that's just the BLT. So like I said, that's basically like nothing on it.
Yeah, there's like no meat on that one. I saw a report earlier today from just an economic place, not a partisan place, that was it was calculating America's current inflation, and we're on a downtrend, but their calculations were like, we've slightly dipped, but now our bottom in America is 2% inflation, which means we are permanently at a state of 2% inflation right now. And like that cannot hold. Like things are going to get bad.
Yeah,
like,
the prices are not going back down. Put it that way.
Oh no. Things are about to get worse. It's bad.
RJ McReady says Jeffrey Dahmer would have been interested in Five Guys. And, you know, once you say that, he's probably the only person that could have tolerated the soggy fries in a cup thing.
Thank you. They're so gross. I hate
the best part about that Jeffrey Dahmer joke, that it works two ways if you really think about it. So
no, 100%, yeah.
Well, and finally, we'll get to the big booty topic of the night on finding out why there's big booties.
We're finally in this.
Batting in the booty.
Yeah, batting in the booty. We took that trip down nostalgia lane. Cider, take us into the present.
So what we have here is the quartering has joined in. He says, this is Coomer bait. You can enjoy it, that's fine. Stop pretending it's some sort of high art I need to respect. Play your Coomer video games, have fun, there's nothing wrong with it. Just stop trying to church it up. And so this is the point of controversy. Now, you may have heard some of us here mention Buttgate throughout the various streams you've seen us participate in. And of course, it's not the video, it's a screenshot. I hate these people.
Always.
Oh, I hate these people. So anyway, we'll leave that one up there. That's your punishment for screenshotting a video.
That's what you get.
Anyway. So what happened was, though, is that this new DLC came out with a character named Luna. And Luna happens to have a very wide set of hips. All right? And you know, as you know, with lady,
when we were a proper country, we used to celebrate women who had an LA face and an Oakland booty, but now look where we are.
I literally have no idea what that means.
Cider, you may be too young to get that reference, but
it's not that I'm young. I live on the East Coast, and we just don't. I don't have any reference point. Well, it's not that. No. My father told me growing up that Maine was the land of the big bottom women. So here we've got something to put on the screen while we're talking about this. This is Haley from the game wearing another optional costume, very optional. And so the situation is that there were people who saw these characters, particularly Luna, having a butt dance. Okay, now this is again, you see the camera's moving down now. Aha, there we are. Here's the big controversy with the game. Is it has a costume like this, and it has these kinds of angles. You can point the camera at her midsection and spin her around. Luna has a special dance DLC that comes with the DLC itself that all characters can do. It's not just limited to Luna. However, that character is, again, very bootylicious, if you will. And so her doing that dance, of course, it's a Dance Revolution one too. So you're not passively watching her stand there and shake her ass like you're at a strip club. You actually have to press buttons in order to keep her moving. Otherwise, you lose the challenge while the scene is loading. They don't have a neutral scene loading thing, apparently. And so, as you can see right here, Haley is very bottom heavy. All right. I don't know why that's not looping. It annoys me. Thanks, Elon. Appreciate it. Can't even choose to loop. Right.
Yeah, Twitter
Anyway.
vids don't loop. It's kind of annoying.
The one time you want it to. But anyway, so as you can see with Haley,
right.
she's very bottom heavy, all right? And this is a trend with the first Descendant characters. It's also a trend with a lot of sci-fi characters right now coming out of Korea and Japan. Not a lot of top-heavy ladies coming out in sci-fi genre right now. Eve being the exception. But most of these sci-fi ladies are bottom-heavy currently, and that was another critique that was levied against our Asian friends, that they are obsessed with body parts and are not mature and have never seen a woman before. And as usual, our friends who are very obsessed with the purity of other people and not themselves decided to rein their horde of supporters into the mess. And like the quartering issued that this is Coomer bait. You can't possibly just enjoy a lady with a big ass running around in a video game. There's a channel called The Game Grumps, and that stars Aaron Hansen and Dan Avidan. And Aaron Hansen is known for saying, I always want to play a girl in video games if I'm given the option. And people go, why? And he says, I get to stare at a woman's ass for 14 to 22 hours. Why would I want to stare at a man's ass for that long? And so the first Descendant here, the first Descendant came out and said, I see your love of butts, and I raise you all the butts. Now you saw this with there was a game that had a bunch of characters.
Like a recent one.
They were robot women styled characters, and they kind of acted like JoJo stands. And I don't remember the name, but they were very like opulently designed, very a lot of like cosmic looking stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
But-
you need a more.
Sorry,
I'm lost. Even I can't.
I can't remember.
land
I
on
can't
it.
remember the name of it, but they were basically most of the combatants were female styled, and they all had big butts. But this is what the controversy is. So now you understand. Hopefully, I butchered it too much. That this is what's happening with Buttgate.
Yeah. So for to back up Cider's point, that is all the factual end of it. The wrap up of the like what Buttgate is not necessarily that these people are out here saying, oh, I don't like this, this is gross. It's that you have, like Cider said, our more puritanical friends, individuals like Melanie Mack, certain John Trent, all of them, they are advocating that if you they're saying ban this. They're saying, I don't like this. You need to get rid of it. I don't ever want to see it. This is pornography.
Well, first, yeah,
You
let's
need
say
to ban
they're calling it pornography. Then by labeling it pornography, it justifies them trying to ban it and get rid of it.
And it's funny because I've seen them, they go to religious websites to get their evidence for their arguments. And every time they cite what is pornography, the definition always says people simulating a sexual act. And so everybody has been able to fire back and go, what's the simulation here? What do you want here? So like the thing is, if you don't like that kind of game, if you think that goes too far, that's okay. Nobody is forcing you to play this game. But the problem is,
and then not only that, but like I said, the moral grandstanding comes to the fact where it's like you have to announce to everyone. It's like, by the way, I think this is degenerate. If you like something like this, you're a loser. But I mean, I guess this is your thing. Good for you. It's like, okay, well, thanks for that decoration.
Right, and that's the underhanded bit of it. You'll see a lot of them going like, we need to ban pornography, and then they'll say this game is pornographic, this is gross, and they'll go, and then somebody will push back and say, oh, so you want to ban this? You think this is you want to ban it? And they go, what are you? I never said that. I never said I wanted to ban the first Descendant. Where did I say that? And it's like, okay, you didn't say that exact sentence, right? But all of the like,
I mean,
we can
when you say
Right.
when you make like the major part of your platform, we want to ban pornography, then you label stuff like this pornography. It's not that big of a stretch to say that this is the type of stuff that you want to ban. I mean, it's like A versus A and B equals C. It's like it's not that difficult,
it's
right?
A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C, and they're going, nuh-uh. That like it again. It's literally the Patrick meme from SpongeBob. Like, is this what you said? Yes. Okay. You think this is pornography? Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to ban it? No. And then So that,
and then they keep it like this whole thing started because some guy who Randall don't even know who he is posted like a 20-second clip of like one of these characters like, is this what gamers really want? And like, and everyone have to come in and be like, well, no, as a pure and ethical gamer, I can honestly say that never while they were all like smoking like the tobacco pipes. Like, that's what I just felt like they were saying like the entire time.
I saw like 13 and 14-year-olds commenting on this. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking minor.
Well,
Shut
yeah,
up.
I mean, we need them to, they should not be in the conversation at all. It's like I've said, guys, if you ever encounter a minor in the wild and they try to engage with you,
pepper spray them in the
response
face.
Is either pepper spraying them in the face, or you say, thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for, reading my book. And that's it. You do not need to give them weight or engage them, especially on a topic like this, where they don't have any right to be here. Like, get out. Like, you're part of the problem right now. But yeah, the issue is, it's not that, that first poster was his name was Dread Roberts, and apparently people know him. Apparently he's a big YouTuber in our sphere. I've never heard of him, but he came out and he basically said like, oh, this is what everybody wants. Wow, we need people who are mature back in games, right? And so basically what you're seeing is what was always going to happen, which is that the more performative religious types are going to go on crusades and purity test you out of what we're doing, right? Like, I've seen a lot of tweets coming out of the not even the like super hyper crazy religious people, but like just normal people in our sphere who are religious, who aren't really getting the point that we don't really have a problem with your religion, and if you want to practice it, but you can't come over here and tell us what to do. And the fact that they are now trying to frame it as like, oh, look, everybody wants to go against the Christians, everybody wants to get rid of us. It's like, no,
guys, we're the victims here.
But no, we gotta point this out though too. Is these are the same people that were praising Stellar Blade, which is by their logic pornography.
Well, that's so Melanie Mack is the main,
and Dread Roberts did this too.
Dread Roberts, Melanie and Dread were the main ones behind this, saying like, oh, first Descendant is pornography, but then somebody even took like, this is where I laughed out loud, because somebody responded to Melanie and was like, okay, what do you think of Stellar Blade? You liked it. What do you like? Look at Eve. And guys, there's no argument. Like, Eve is by definition Coomer bait, right? Like, all of her suits are super skin tight. Even her standard one is skin tone colored to give you that illusion. There's no
there was a controversy around her.
Right, exactly. And so there's no ifs, ands, or buts about what she's supposed to be. But Melanie did the mental gymnastics of, oh, it's not that. I didn't think it was like that. I didn't take it that way. And it's like, okay, then there's no real, like, it's all just like Jacob was saying, it's all sort of for attention. It's all to throw fire on the, like, or fuel on the fire. And it's to let this, like, the more vocal representatives act like the victims.
And then not only that, but it's like, everyone, so this is apparently not even like a standard uniform like for the character. Like, this is not, so this is like a DLC basically like mod type thing. So this is essentially like the equivalent if, like we talked about, was it with Resident Evil, what's the name, Lady D, whatever her name is. This would be essentially somebody like making like, a sexy mod of her in the game, and then like everyone like whining, complaining about it. It's like, but it's a mod, like it's not even like meant to be playable to like to begin with, right?
And to take that even further, like that specific shot we're looking at, you have to like mess with the camera. You have to like get her against the wall, get the camera. We all know what we're talking about. We all used to do this when we were kids, like to get better angles of either underskirts or just character models.
Can I ask you, would it be all right if it didn't require that? If you could just angle the camera around to wherever you wanted to look at this gal? Would it? Because it's not a game that's made for kids. It's right. It has an M rating on it.
It has an M rating, and like I don't care. I think I am of the belief, if you want to play it, play it. If you don't want to play it, don't. You can criticize it all you want. Please feel free to. But to say we need to ban this, that's where it starts going,
That's the thing too. It's like, you know, especially in our like ADHD world, it's like most people saw this, like look for a couple seconds and then just continue scrolling and moved on with their life, and we turned this into like a near week-long discourse between like multiple groups of people at this point.
You should probably marry the woman that you impregnated if you want to go around calling yourself a Christian nationalist. I highly recommend
Hey,
that
JDA,
you
how's it
take
going?
ownership of that child in the eyes of God, as well as the state, instead of running from a mistake that you made. You may now forever leave this chat.
Ouch.
You can also stay around, but we're not pulling any punches anymore. But yeah, so the thing about that with every, like, what the reason it became this week-long thing, right, Jacob, is that everybody on the internet, and this is people I agree with, people I disagree with, people on our side, against it, whatever, we have gotten to this point where everybody takes everything to the strongest extreme possible, right?
Yep.
So like when people saw this and they said, what do you think about like Pirate Nation asked, is this what gamers want? Everybody who is like against it kind of took this angle of, oh my gosh, I can't believe everybody is forcing us to go this way. This is the direction they want to take games. I don't think so. I wasn't fighting for that. And it's like, nobody said that this is what we want all video games to be. What people are saying is that we are happy that video games are no longer afraid to express themselves artistically, whether that is with, you know, certain topics, certain character designs, all that stuff.
So this is the question that I asked last time when we were talking about this. It's like, okay, so now that so between basically we don't want, you know, ugly video game characters. That's on one side of the aisle. At the same time, this is porn now. So this is porn, and then like the Mortal Kombat designs, that's ugly. So we don't want either one of those. Okay, so where's the new line now? So where are we drawing the new line of this? Because I can put up a couple of costumes from games like, I don't know, Tekken, Dead or Alive, you know, even Mortal Kombat if you want to stretch it out of that, and I can just be like, okay, is this porn now? Is this good? Like, is this bad? Like, where's the line of good and bad? Because this is where Melanie Mack got herself kind of twisted up over this whole argument, because she was saying that, you know, she wants attractive characters. She's a huge fan of Lara Croft, but obviously we all know Lara Croft is basically known for having big boobs, and if they were to make a more, like said, attractive version of Lara Croft that had those features, at what line would it be pornographic, or what line would just be, oh, it's just an attractive character? So it's like, is it specifically the costume types? Like, should we not have alternate costumes or costumes that are too sexy? Even if we didn't do that in the game, somebody's still going to go out there and make a mod of this themselves that has nothing to do with the actual developers whatsoever. So like I said,
right, and you're seeing the right-leaning version of the perpetual victimization that we see on the left, right? Because what will happen here is they went, oh my gosh, look at all these woke people. They're like, they don't want attractive women. They only want men. We need women, like, we need sexy designs back. And now that they're there, they're going, oh no, not that sexy. We got to go backwards. And then, you know, if they get their way and all the characters are put in burqas, they now have another point to whine about and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're back to this. What happened? There's a lot of this, like, when it comes to people on the left or right, or just in general, the ones often who are the loudest out there railing against something, those are the ones who are just doing it because it's, you know, it gives them satisfaction. They don't really have standards. I mean, I can go over and I can look at all of the individuals I know from this kerfuffle, John Della Rose, John Trent, and Melanie Mack, and go, look, you guys claim to be promoting, you know, oh, this is bad, but you're excusing all this other stuff, and they will give you an excuse that says, oh no, Catholic doctrine says yada yada, but it never jives. And so the problem is once they took it as, oh, we're trying to make everything like this, they assumed that, and that's how we got here, when all we want is freedom for people to choose. Do you want to play First Descendant? No? Okay. Do you want to go play a game that's, you know, based on, let's say, like Moses's journey or whatever, which could be cool if it existed? Like, go for it.
If you had someone creative enough.
Freedom.
That's not meant to be a lame That's not meant to be a lame comparison. I understand.
No, that's supposed to be a
Simply
good
saying that
comparison.
this
Yeah,
is a more
that's a genuinely
cleanly
good
offering.
comparison. Like I would play a really good game about the Moses.
Hell, you could tell Digimon into a Christian story. They got demons and angels and all
I was
that
gonna
stuff.
say,
in
half the
Digimon,
time
right?
it is.
Look, you got little Patamon, right? The little loaf of bread turns into an angel, right, and beats the ass off a literal demon Digimon, big old horns, fangs, and shit. And then
I mean, Digimon has a storyline literally called like the seven, those are the deadly demons, and then like the royal knights as well, which is basically just an allude to like heaven and hell and all that stuff. Like you could tell that story in the confines of Digimon, and it would actually make sense and actually be kind of cool if you were to do that, right? Of course, you have to get the creative minds behind it.
Right.
Now,
Go ahead,
before we
Simon.
move on, we do have a super chat here for $10. Makani Draws says, I play the first Descendant, and Luna shaking her hips is part of her skill set. Her dancing offers buffs to her teammates. She is a fear of missing out skin and a leotard. So by their definition, Cammy from Street Fighter is a Gunnar Kummer bait.
No, exactly, Makani. I mean, that is I've seen a lot of people raising that argument to these critics, going, "Did you have a problem with Cammy?" No. And again, if you go and you
Cammy, Chung-Li, Sonya Blade, Melina,
I mean,
there's
Lara
a multitude
Croft,
of characters.
in old games, Lara Croft in old games at certain points dresses in like a skin tight one-piece swimsuit that kind of looks like Luna's costume here in First Descendant. So it is just like Jacob said, there's never a consistent line. It continues to shift because that allows them to crusade.
So here's my question too, because it brings up another great point. It's like all of these people who think that they're fighting like this culture war, right? They all would prefer things to be kind of the way they were, let's say 20, 25 years ago, right? Here's the problem with that. 20, 25 years ago, I mentioned this last night as well, primarily we were marketing towards the 18 to 34 male demographic. Like, that was the key consumer base in the United States of America during that time period. 18 to 34, college age to young adult men, right? And a lot of the advertisement, didn't matter what it was, what medium it was, even like fast food commercials, it all had a lot of sexy, attractive women because they knew that's what plays up to the 18 and 34 male demographic, right? So, like I said, just the line, at what point are we saying that this is good and this is bad? Because you can look back at some Carl's Jr. commercials, some GoDaddy commercials, Axe body spray, stuff like that, and see a lot of sexy ladies because why? The target demographic were young males, and they knew that, hey, look, sex sells with young males, so this is what we're going to do to get it, right? And a lot of people would love to go back to that time period versus the time period that we have now. So are we now saying that time period is bad too? We need to go back even further. So now where are we going back to? Are we going back to like 1984 now, where it's a little bit more comfortable and feel like, please define where the line is now. Because it seems like, if this whole thing was to push us back to 20 years ago, apparently 20 years ago is not enough because, like I said, characters like Cammy from Street Fighter just mentioned, there are a few other characters that were all sexy video game.
9, like in general, which really kind of started this, if you think about it. Mortal Kombat 9 really started this like puritanical movement in the first place.
So it's like, exactly, it's like, are we only allowed to have like 6 out of 10s in our video game now? Because you say you don't want ugly characters, so we're fighting against that, but you don't want sexy characters either, right? So you can't be ugly, you can't be sexy, you gotta be somewhere playing like in the middle. So it's like, are we doing like Sydney Sweeney fully covered up, or are we only allowed to have like Abby Shapiro's in our game now? So it's like,
and the problem is they don't know, because the delineation there is what is the current battle and what stance can I get to take, to put attention on me for fighting this fight, right? Like that.
Even Leslie brought up a great point there. In 1984, women were wearing Daisy Dukes and tight t-shirts. There was a lot of sexploitation, sex comedies during the 60s and the 70s and the 80s too. So apparently that's not far enough either. So.
But there's another thing that needs to be looked at is there's a double standard. They're not talking about the sexy men that are being exploited. And also, what about the actual women? There's real life women that dress like this all the time, or not all the time, but there's women that will wear like sexy outfits.
Well,
we
know how they
yeah, I know.
They just call them whores.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there's this double standard happening here. So these people, if they are going to treat these real life women like this, you might as well call them misogynist at this point and call them sexist and call them incel. I hate using the word incel, but they are proving the leftist right that they are incels and that they are sexist and they are misogynistic.
And that's one of the big unfortunate side effects of this is that I have seen, people on the left, like that we would consider sort of, opponents in our culture war battle, notable accounts, screen capping all this and going, haha, look, they're all falling apart. We win again. And it's like, it is maybe 5 people who are trying to be pious that are destroying this from the inside. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're not winning anything. It's like, dude, no, we're just getting rid of the virus before it gets even bigger in this movement. That's what it really
it's
like.
weird too, because I mean, I've even experienced this in like pro wrestling as well. And I'm not sure if I talk about this on air or off air, but like go back to WWE, like back in the early 2000s, like somewhere 2002, 2003, where you had women like Trish Stratus and Lita and Stacy Keibler and women like that, right? And I remember in like old groups we were watching basically like old basically watching like old like WWE stuff, and there's people in those groups that are all like, they see like a Trish Stratus versus Lita match, for instance, they'll be like, oh, this is pornography, get this off of my screen. And we're just sitting there like, this is literally the TV show we used to watch like 20 years ago. It's like, so it's now like everything is like pornography now. It's like if there's any hint of like a boob or a butt anywhere, it's just automatically pornography. Like, you see how very easy it is to justify like nonsense just by moving that line now, because essentially what you're saying is that anything that was consumed 20 years ago is now porn and it needs to be banned.
Honestly, what it is they're telling on themselves. I know Nerdigans is going to laugh at this because she'll know what I'm talking about. But there's this quote that is thrown around a lot at like neo-leftists and Twitter children when censorship comes up about, oh my gosh, people will go online and try to project their like a porn obsession onto you and then get mad at you when you have self-control. That's sort of what it is. They're projecting, oh, everybody has to, that wrestling example, your buddy's going, oh, this is disgusting porn. And all of you are going, what? And that's because he's projecting, like, I find this attractive. Everybody is. Now I need to go police it because...
And that's the whole thing with this quote unquote gooner bait nonsense. It's like, look, I get it. There's weirdos out there on Reddit that the second they see an attractive lady, they just pull their pants down and go to town because they can't control themselves. That's not the majority of people. Like, there are a lot of people surprisingly have self-control and are not just gonna lose their mind at the sight of boobs. Like, it's not particularly how it works.
Speaking of, we do have another $10 super chat from Makini Draws, and we have
buddy.
Softcore implies nudity. By that logic, none of the skins are even close to softcore. It's just fan service. The game with robots you're thinking of is Goddess Victory Nikkei, which I play.
Yes.
All right.
Now I remember. That's the one where you shoot and their butts jiggle. Yeah. Okay, now I remember.
There's a lot of stuff happening in that game, and we do have another super chat that accentuates this one. It's from Melanie Mack and John Trent Woke Right Extraordinaire for $2. Here, seems to have a credit card there. And says, they want us back in the 1950s. Let's fight and win. Well, I don't think we really have to fight or win it. It's just human nature to like beautiful things and sexy things.
Hey, even the 50s had Elvis, so apparently that's not far enough either.
Well, that's what I always laugh, because you see a lot of like online, culture warrior LARPers on the right go like, why don't we return to the 50s? We need to go back. And I'm like, the guy who just posted that, whoever it, like, there's like multiple accounts that do this. Like, you spend all day on Twitter and you've admitted that like you have a disability and like child support to your first wife. You are not what they want in the 50s. You would have just an awful time, as much of an awful time then as now. So it's like it all, whether it's saying we need to go back into the past and cover up to be more pure, or saying, oh, we need to be more progressive and inclusive so that everybody can be happy. It really all just boils down to how can I use this to serve my own purposes? And that's the problem. And that's why I am so glad that near universally in our sphere, I mean, you guys can see everybody in the chat here. We've seen everybody on the chat last night on Jacob's stream. We see everybody online. Most of us are pushing back because we all realize that this, we didn't fight against, everything that we've been fighting against for the last decade, just to have another authoritarian come in and say, you can't have that. It's the exact same.
And the pushback here is that, you know, these people are arguing. It's like, oh no, we're not on the same side as those other people. It's like, yeah, you are. You're like, you're trying to accomplish the same goal just for different reasons. Because in their minds, and not the far left's minds, it's like they want to ban sexy characters because they don't like femininity like at all, right? So they want to erase anything that reminds them of traditional female features. So that's why they want to get rid of it. On your mind, everything that has those features is porn. So you want to get rid of it. You guys have the exact same goal. You just have different reasons of attaining that goal.
It's so good. No, it's like I said, horseshoe theory to a U. Before we wrap this up, because Cider, I know we have more to talk about. I know we
have a super chat.
Super chat me.
It's on topic too. It's from Scooby Doosh here for $5 Canadian, and it says, "Is this Gooner Gate?" Because I saw that term being said on X, and yes. This is what is being considered Goonergate. It's also considered Buttgate. However you'd like to approach it, it is a controversy centered around people's preference to look at beautiful women.
Right. And again, we're not sitting here saying we want all video games to look like this. We understand that there are different audiences. Like, I don't want this in Astrobot. Right, like that.
I don't want Zelda twerking on Link's face in the opening sequence of the next game.
None of us want that, but we want to have the freedom where if I go into a store, I go, hey, I want that butt game. I can just buy it and not have somebody go, whoa, inshallah. You know,
that'd be funny if that's what you said it, right? You walked up to the GameStop counter and says, I want that butt game. And the guy's like, fam, I got you. He knows exactly what you're talking about.
I kind of want to do that now just to see what the cashier comes back with. Like, what do you think I'm looking for?
He's got like 5 and he's like, I did my best. These are the most butt games I could find. And they're all right.
Exactly,
they're all
correct. Thinking,
but before we go on to the next topic, I do, Spencer, again, will know what I'm talking about here.
Hit me.
Yes. I really especially since the timing is everything because of the new Fire Force trailer coming out. The War on Sex Appeal arc just can't come soon enough because that will break Twitter just like it did when the manga chapters were coming out. I can't wait for it, especially when this particular line comes up. And I love it. It's even if you threaten others with violence to force your ideals on them, your sexual frustrations won't be solved if you don't change yourself. And this is from Fire Force. Yep. And and this arc happened because of the psycho Japanese feminists attacking Okubo for, I think it was for Tamaki's character. And he was just so sick of it. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to do an arc about the War on Sex Appeal and to make Tamaki like the star of this arc. Right. And it was just so genius.
How old is that arc now? Like 2 years?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, 2 or 3 it's pretty years old now. Like that's, I mean, we know we've all been in this fight for decades, but like that's how long this is sort of. It gets a little depressing when you realize like how long we've had to.
You know, every now and then we sound like Gundam characters when we talk about just how exhausting this battle for the culture has been. You know.
You and I need to stand in front of a big glass window on a space station, and we need to just like solemnly say not talk to each other, but wax poetic at each other, not even like to each other, but like at each other.
It's barely on the same topic, right? You know,
right.
Amuro and Char are talking and have their own internal monologues, but it sounds like they're talking to one another.
It's like Cider would stand at the window, be like, Earth truly just needs humanity to come back together. We really need to just find that social connection again. And I'm over here like, you know, if we get a bigger computer processor, that butt could jiggle at 80 frames a second. You see the ability side, and we just keep going back and forth.
We're gonna be one hell of a new type pair.
So like the yeah, right. It's gonna be a hell of a new type era. Check it out. But yeah, like as a lot of you guys are saying in the chat, it's all about your freedom to choose, right? I don't want to tell you what to do. You don't tell me what to do. And to sort of, I feel like this is a point that is lost on a lot of the Crusaders right now, which is when you advocate for censorship, you're putting that weapon into the leftist hands, to your opponent's hands. So I don't want to see butts banned as much as I don't want to see the Bible banned from being read, right? Because you will get somebody who goes either on the left or if they go super crazy on the right, like, oh, look, they're talking about a nude woman or whatever. Ban it. We need to get rid of it. And it's like, that is the I know a lot of people overuse the term, but it's the slippery slope. So just on a fundamental level, people should be against
it's also narcissism as well, for being honest with ourselves, because these
yeah.
people who always want to be the ones to pick and choose what's okay is not okay, they never see themselves in a position where they're ever not in power, where it's going to blow back on them.
Right. And sort of to that point, I wanted to ask you, Jacob, specifically, because this is all on a religious bent, which I know, like, the Johns are Catholic. I think Melanie is Christian. What is the, as you know, the host of the Bible Lens and somebody I personally trust to talk about religious topics, what's the Christian take here on this, on banning or looking at everything as pornographic?
Well, I mean, it all comes down to this. You can't legislate morality, because here's one thing. Like, not everyone struggles with the same sin. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everyone thinks that, you know, everyone is Coomer brain. If they just see a butt or a boob, that they're just gonna absolutely, like, lose their mind. It's like, the reality is there's a lot of people out there that aren't struggling with sexual sin. Not that I'm downplaying it, but just the reality is that there's a lot of people who they can play games like this and it just means absolutely, like, nothing to them. Like, to them it's like nothing more than entertainment value. And to say that, oh, it's bad, you shouldn't be watching, it's like, well, if he's not having any negative effect to it, then I mean, that's not something that applies to him. Now look, I will say this: if you're someone who has a absolutely crippling, you know, porn addiction to where you just can't control yourself in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, yeah, you know what? Probably don't play these games. Probably if you know that these type of games are going to cause you to fall and cause you to stumble, then yeah, I would probably stay away from them as well. But look, at the same time, we forget that, look, we all have free will at the end of the day, and I look at it from this perspective too. Just something I've noticed from a Christian perspective. A lot of these people, as we've mentioned here, without sounding insulting, I'll just say it like this: they don't actually believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ, even though they thump themselves as Christians all the time. So in their mindset, the reason why they're so adamant in banning stuff like this is because they think that essentially individual sin is what takes you to hell, right? So it's like, oh, if you watch this movie or video game, whatever the case may be, and it has a butt in there, it's like, that's lust, and you're gonna go to hell because you enjoyed it in that. It's like, that's not exactly why people go to hell. And this is the big sticking point that I always point out here. It's like, the reason anyone goes to hell, period, is unbelief. That's really what it comes down to. It's two sides. It's belief in Christ and unbelief in Christ. The unbelief is what's going to send you to hell. Yes, now is everyone a sinner? Yes. Has anyone committed different sins? Yeah, there's drunks, there's people who have porn addiction, fornicators, as we've just been exposed to here tonight as well. So everyone has something that they're struggling with. I just like
that word when it's used like in that way.
Fornicators. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's why Jesus died on the cross. He died for our sins. So it's like the penalty for rejecting the sacrifice of Christ is essentially eternal separation from God. It's your unbelief in Christ. That's not the individual sin. Because if that was the case, guess what? No one's going to heaven. Everyone's going to hell, because you've all sinned and fallen short in the eyes of God. And I know there's somebody out there like, no, I don't sin anymore, at least not intentionally. You're exactly the type of person I'm talking about.
If you want to see those people, go on Jacob's Twitter, because like he finds them. I don't know how you find them all the time.
They're mostly Calvinists, and like there's a whole thing with Calvinism right now, and that's a whole other conversation.
But so like to that point, I am proud of myself, because after like watching the Bible Lens and talking to you a bunch, Jacob, when we were talking about this topic, when it sort of erupted over the weekend and we were in the Bounding chat, that I was proud of myself, because I was like, they're missing the point that salvation is salvation. You're done. And you were like, yeah, exactly. Done.
And it's always the people talk about, no, I moved away from my sin, and that's why I'm going to heaven. I repented. That's why it's like that's not how you're not getting in based on what you do. You're not a great person. You're not a good person. That's the whole point of the Bible, that you're not a good person.
I mean, that's the argument you always bring up that always, sells it to me, which is like, you might not like it, but murderers and big criminals, like, I don't want to say that word because we'll probably get dinged on YouTube, but like, they will go to heaven so long as they believe. You don't have to like it. Like, it sucks, but that's because that's
the whole point of what this is faith. That's the whole point of everything. Like, you're not going to get in based on performance, and that's why I said before, the difference between a so-called good person who does all these good things but doesn't have faith in Christ versus a murderer who did a lot of bad things is getting in heaven. What is the difference here? It's faith. That's the focus. And that's the part that a lot of people who profess to be Christians completely miss out on, because no, they're too worried about what the early church fathers, what the catechism says, and all this other nonsense. It's like, if you guys are going to sit here and beat the drum of being the Christian face of whatever the hell, maybe you should actually know what your book teaches and actually know sound doctrine before you start, thumping on everybody else. Because a lot of you guys are still missing the mark.
And if you want to learn more about that, the Bible Lens podcast every Sunday at 7. I don't
7.
remember.
Yep,
Yes,
7
I got it.
o'clock.
I just wait for the notification on my phone. That just pops up whenever.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, this was really funny. RJ McCready in the chat when we were talking about, hey, can you hand me the butt game? And he's like, I want the ass game. You go in and they hand you like GTA Definitive Edition. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, they just hand you like the worst game possible. Like, okay, here's NBA 2K2. Like,
yeah,
just like
this
dropping
one
it like that.
Get something like Crocker's Bad Fur Day or something like that.
This was a popular way of advertising the early 2000s fighter games. I remember seeing many style in this style, not this one repeated over. But it explicitly asks right here, it says, are you hard enough? And it means, like, are you a hard enough fighter to be part of the Dead or Alive 2 cast? However, there's a lady laying on her back, and you have quite a fortuitous angle to view her upon. And it can have many meanings. And this is what PlayStation kind of made its attitude about in the early days. It was about the basically putting on the 8 to 14, male demographic, where you're kind of evoking all that hormonal need to compete and the hormonal need to make children and all this stuff. And they're evoking a lot of that bro culture and stuff like that. That what we define as bro culture now, which was just dudes enjoying things. So we're going to try and use those things they enjoy to sell things. And here we are with it repeating itself now, though. Is you're not going to believe this, but OnlyFans people now sell ad space.
Wait, how, like, on their accounts?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure.
Mid-video.
Why not?
I'm told mid-video they pull up like this whole, you can get this now with my code. Yep, mid-video. So
great.
Oh,
absolutely
man.
great.
Just the possibilities of, like, you're in the mood, and then all of a sudden it's like, do you want 15% off HelloFresh? Use code NUT down in the entry below or whatever.
Speaking of code nut, I mean, look at Nintendo. You see, here's Nintendo with the seriously distracting thing. There's a woman that's chained to a bed, and this guy would rather be playing the Game Boy.
Like that's what to cite it.
He was the original Sigma male.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's an ad I'm trying to find that's even more sick.
I can't show that second one, Spencer.
No worries. I'm just sending out a bunch of various ads to show that this has been a very common thing. The one I was talking about is there's one where a woman is in lingerie and she's looking frustrated at the fourth wall, and she's like, he used to want to play with me, now he only wants to play his Nintendo, and the guy's in the background playing something, and I'm like, that's Sigma male. But it's sort of, that's what we're talking about, right? Like, the sex appeal was sort of always there in video game advertising because they understand their demographic. And how many of us here have turned out to be criminals or deviants or degenerates or anything? We're all pretty damn normal.
I think I got a speeding ticket once. But anyway, Timon, the Meteor Herald, member of the channel, asks, how do you know Cider, referring to the OnlyFans ads? Well, my second job is in tech. So just kind of connect the dots on how I might be associated with people who might be heavily invested in what goes on with OnlyFans.
Send Bob.
So,
do not.
But it's one of those things. We're going to continue fighting this fight because it is less about solving the culture. It's less about changing the culture, and it's all about keeping hell rolling. What's this, Jacob?
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm now at the point now where I legitimately wonder, it's like, you guys want to roll this clock back. How many of you guys could actually handle the early 2000s? Like, is that too extreme for some of you guys now? Remember this whole thing?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be 100%. Oh, heck yes.
Do these jeans make my butt look big?
No, you just have a really huge ass. The jeans are fine. We're gonna miss the movie.
Brutally honest, watch X-Play.
My brain can no longer withstand the massive suck from this game.
Oh, man, look at what happens before cocaine turns into a hell of a drug.
Oh,
Last
yeah.
time Bubble Booty was a good thing.
X-Play, the most brutally honest video game review.
There was some like recent like bit from X-Play that went viral like about several months ago, and people were like super butthurt because Morgan Webb was basically like making fun of Japan or something like that. It was it was like a real like offshoot, like, you know, one of those like monologue things. And it's like, oh, I can't believe that the early 2000s used to be this racist. How dare she talks about Japan like that? It's like it was literally a joke about how they nuked Japan.
And the problem with that was like they were getting the people who saw that clip and got mad at her were getting mad at the wrong thing, because it was like her joke about like Japan's weird, like look at all these game shows, like that was a kind of common thing back then. But it was Adam and the rest of the hosts who were like, oh yeah, this is a Japanese game, it's trash, who cares, it's from Japan. That's the actual racism that like we were trying to highlight, and then everybody ran with like, oh, look at the joke. And it's like, you guys completely missed the mark about what we were talking about.
Way to go, guys.
We had a question. Oh my gosh, just got to scroll a little bit. Where did she, I had it all like lined up. Well, I remember what it was. Anyway, it was from Joanna Shipley. Joanna asks, you know, are the same people who are outraged over, you know, slight nudity or fan service in video games, do they feel the same about violence? And no, the answer is completely, it's the biggest point of hypocrisy, because they're fine with you going out and, you know, bludgeoning people to death, having super realistic gore graphics. But the second you show a shoulder, inshallah, we must take action. Like that is 100%. Inshallah, like 100%. And
is that gonna just be your new thing, Spencer? Is inshallah?
It's about to be. I've been saying it like 5 times now, so I think I'm adopting that catchphrase. What?
We'll have to get him a T-shirt that says inshallah across it.
I mean, kind of.
Inshallah and infidels in the back.
This is a Chaozu shirt, and Chaozu is sacrifice bombing himself. If you
He would shout that before trying to defeat Nappa in that episode.
Chaozu is the first jihad confirmed.
Muslim representation. But yeah, Joanna. Like that is one of the easiest arguments that you can throw back at them is you guys, you know, are completely fine with that, and you're not fine with that. And here's like another example I'm gonna bring up. One of the individuals who was leading this crusade against, you know, from the Christian side, their favorite video game is, one of them at least, is Persona 5, which is a video game that has your main cast of characters are thieves who are stealing back, you know, I mean, arguably they're Robin Hood, but they're still stealing. It has sexy anime character girl designs. It has you teaming up with literal demons and a lot of pentagram iconography. It has the final battle is against like essentially God. In fact, in one of the Shin Megami games, your literal boss fight at the end is Yahweh. You fight demons, you bludgeon them to death. You are high schoolers romancing other high schoolers, which is weird, right? Or by logic, it should be weird, but that's all okay. And oh no, we don't have to worry. Like there's no real outrage over. This is literally the argument I got, which is like, this is all fictional. Like the demons are fictional. I'm not really teaming up with demons. So in that case, why can't we just have a fictional butt? Why can't that just be there? Again,
you can have fictional Satan.
You can have fictional Satan. You can have fictional everything, but you cannot have like, yeah, you can't show an ankle. Again, if we look back at the like, I just thought of this, The Last of Us 2 debacle. When that came out, everybody was rightfully complaining about how, oh my gosh, you're killing off Joel. This is an insult. How dare you? But nobody was going, oh yeah, that was sort of like really unnecessary to do the golf club thing. Like that was too much violence. Nobody brought that up. And that's a very American thing. Because of our sort of religious foundation, we have a little bit more of a combative relationship with nudity.
Spencer,
so,
let me just say one thing about that golf club thing. They did bring up the golf club, but only that it was a dishonorable death.
Right.
Joel. Yes. Not that he was beaten to. They were angry that he was beaten to death in his sleep. They wanted him on his feet when he died. So they still wanted him dead. They just didn't want him beaten in his sleep with a golf club. And that's it. That was their biggest contention. It was a dishonorable violent act. It wasn't an honorable violent act. It's like, you're right, you pick a rope. But again, it's like I said, it's all about hell rolling. It has nothing to do with an end game. There's no end goal. Like Jacob says, there is no There's no date that you can roll back the clock to where it's going to be acceptable. Because guess what? Even in the ye olde days, guess what? The lords and ladies, even the peasantry, were walking around with no less than 6 inches of cleavage pouring out of the top of their tops. Because you want to know why? That's how you attracted men. That's how you kept them happy when they had swords and could stab you.
I'm not gonna lie. Like whenever I see pictures of like the classical medieval corsets, I genuinely feel bad because they are like that small at the waist. And then
where are her guts?
wide.
Really, that's the question.
No, yeah.
Where are her guts? Yeah,
that's where the actual question comes up.
Yeah, and that's. But we're gonna go from something really happy to something really dark.
But yeah, guys, we'll jump here. But bottom line is sort of just I'm happy to see everybody pushing back. Remember, you are in charge of yourself. You don't need to learn about policing everybody else. If you are a Christian, don't take this as a sort of call to not practice your religion, right? Go out and tell people. If you disagree with pornography, tell them. I have we know him, or a lot of us know him, J. Jonas Campbell over at that Park Place. Really good friend of mine, a really faithful, dedicated Christian. He, we were talking about this, like Stellar Blade and this entire debacle. And he basically said, like, he tries to avoid it for himself because he knows that he has, like, it could tempt him and he doesn't want to do that. And I don't want him to stop. And then, he would tell me, like, I think it's damaging to the soul. This is why I don't like it. And I'm glad he did, and I wouldn't want him to stop.
And that's the other thing too here, and let's be fair. Like I said, if you're someone who struggles with lust or porn, wherever the case may be, like I said, maybe don't play those games. Like if you know that you have struggles with this, then don't do it. At the same time, you're never going to censor the world to a point where your porn addiction is just going to forever go away. Like temptation is always going to be that. That's just the way that our fallen world works, right? So you got to understand that's why the responsibility is on you. If you know that you have a problem and you can't control your problem, maybe stay away from things that are going to make your problem significantly worse. That doesn't mean that you're going to ban it from the entire world as the only means to curtail your problem. That's not going to work.
And that's what I was getting at. Like Jonas, he talks to me. He says, and Jonas is not like a porn addicted coomer. That's not what he's just basic. It's the basic Christian. Like, don't look at lust or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So he's like, I don't like it, so I avoid it like that. He told me about his concerns and what it would do. I heard him out, but at the end of the day, I went, I hear you. It's not like that's a good concern, and thank you. But hey, I disagree slightly, but we're still friends. We're still great. And sort of to their point, that old adage of you'll trap more flies with honey than water. Like when Jonas brought that up to me, I wanted to listen to him. I wanted to hear what he has to say. When Jacob brings it up, I want to hear what he has to say. I want his input because they're sort of, even if I disagree with them, they're still respectful of me as a person. They still talk to me like I am a normal individual, and it's adult. But when the Crusaders get in here, it's no, shut up. Don't listen. Like, how dare you? You're canceling me. Oh my goodness. So just be excellent to each other. If you're a Christian, continue, live your lifestyle. Obviously, don't abandon your faith.
Yeah.
Don't undercut yourself. Do not do that.
And then, like I said,
it's like Jacob said,
everyone likes to put like boobs and butts as like the line that we should draw. You want to take this a step further? You want to go all in on let's eliminate immorality out of video games? What about shooting games? Or what about the Mortal Kombats? Right, the uber violence, murder is bad. Murder's up there. It's like one of the top commandments. So is there any game and you can kill someone? Guess what? That's a bad game too. Should we ban that as well? That's more directly against the law of God than anything else. So it's how if somebody steals something from a game, you can't play GTA anymore. You got to ban GTA. So it's like, how far do you want to take this? And this is when you realize just how ridiculous you're being after a certain point.
Even crazier, Jacob, hold on a second. There's more too.
Please.
I mean, look, Mario's killing Goombas. Is that too much? Are we just gonna want to? Where's the line?
Now, if you're gonna sit there and say that. Exactly. If you're going to sit there and say that, oh, that's fictional, let's not be ridiculous. Well, it's like, it's video games. It's all fictional. So it's like,
where's the line being drawn? You might as well just say ban video games altogether. And we've seen Puritans straight up say, we're going to ban, we want video games banned. We want pornography banned. And then you see the story from NBC
but you
News
know what?
Among Us.
But you know what? Those people, the ones that say let's just ban everything, those people are actually being more consistent than some of the other hypocrites that are out there, because at least they're following the straight line from where the whole thing goes, right?
There is a consistent line where they go, if it goes past this, we're against it. But yeah, like Jacob said, the other way, it's just like woo, going
Yeah,
up and down.
I feel
yeah,
like
and I do want to mention this too because I don't know if you guys saw it, but probably guys saw it. Is the attack on Smash JT and his family because he stood up for what he believed in. I thought that's going a step too far.
From this event?
Oh yeah.
He
Dread
got
Roberts
into it with
attacked
Dread
him.
Roberts, and it got real ugly. It got way ugly.
If you're going to get into an argument over this
Yeah.
stuff, don't
Hold on,
attack
Nerdigans,
people's
time.
family.
Wait 1 sec, Nerdigans, before you continue. I just want to clarify. Yes, I know what you guys are talking about. It is. I thought there was you know how Alyssa Mercante tried to like contact his wife. I thought it was something like that. Never mind. You're right, Nerdigans. Take it away. You're completely on point. Hit him with the recap. Hit him with everything.
Okay.
My bad.
It's all good. But yeah, it got really ugly to the point where Dread Roberts was dragging his family into this. Please don't do that. Don't drag anyone's family or anyone's loved ones into this. I have people dragging my dead significant other into shit because I defend fictional characters. It's really, really stupid and it's downright ugly. Just if you're debating someone, just focus on the actual argument. Because when you go that far, that means you've lost the debate, and also you become a scumbag.
No, yeah, don't go after people's families, and sort of to expand on your point, Nerdigans. It's sort of like, at least the way I can try to conduct myself, and this is just on me, is attack the arguments, not the person. Because the second you start going like, oh, you like sexy butts, well, you're ugly. Okay, well, you've got nothing. You have absolutely nothing. You have no argument. You're just trying to make me feel bad so I go away. And I know I'm ugly. So L to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can talk about this topic
really
all night.
could.
Should this be the pivot point where we talk about the MCU being in a complete another state of desperation?
Yeah,
Sure.
You know what? I
We'll
think
do that instead.
Let's
Or Sony,
jump
too.
from.
Wait, where were you going to go to?
The Among Us guy.
Oh no! Let's do that actually too.
You want to talk about the Among Us guy
we can jump to the MCU because that's embarrassing.
And
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I'm hoping, like, also with the MCU, we could talk about Sony's attempted
Spider-Man.
the Spider-Verse.
We'll wrap that up with a Hollywood wrap up for the show. But that's a really good one to talk. I totally forgot about that. I forgot I need to write that too. It's been on my plate for 2 days.
Okay.
But yes, moving on from sexy fear mongering, if you will, we sort of proving the point of what we were talking about, where the horseshoe theory is a complete U at this point. We have a good old fashioned fear mongering attempt from the mainstream media. It is insane that this is still happening in the year of our Lord 2024, and much less with a game like Among Us. So basically, the story here is, you guys have all heard already. It's been the news of the week for the week, but with the United Healthcare CEO being assassinated and his assassin being arrested, everybody is now, digging into his past, his Facebook profiles, just the same sort of, stampede that all the media does whenever anything like this happens, right? They want to get that headline. So you go, oh, look, ABC has the article about, where he grew up, whatever. It's a frenzy, and it's like, at least personally, I kind of find it all gross because I'm like, dude, we don't know anything right now. But regardless of what I feel on it, so that's a normal thing that happens. We all see it. In the aftermath of the suspect being arrested, his name is Luigi Mangione, which at this point, I just feel like the simulation is breaking down. Like Luigi Mangione, that's really who we're looking at here. But he, NBC News reached out looking for a scoop, and they were able to get in contact with some of his friends from, I forget which Ivy League school he went to, but one of his college. And they basically told her, yeah, it's great. We had no idea that he was like this. This came out of nowhere. We used to be in a Discord group with him, and we would play Among Us. And then honestly, I laughed at this because I have to believe a college age male talking to the press did this on purpose, because he says
As
that.
a troll,
he says,
you mean?
Huh?
You think it's as a troll?
Well, no, that what I just said, all of that is true. Like, oh yeah.
No, I'm talking about the college friend,
No, that's what I'm saying, is that the college friend isn't a complete troll, but what he did is, like, that first bit of his statement where he's like, yeah, we used to be friends, we hung out in a Discord group, we played Among Us. That's all factual. But how he caps off his little blurb to the reporter is he says, it's just it's like ironic, or it's like, how ironic that the true killer was Among Us all along. And I'm like, you know what you were doing, like, you bastard. Like, I know that, like, I see you. So we got that shit post out of the way from the college friend. But with that, NBC News, and now not just NBC, but I've seen this out of the New York Post. I've seen this out of ABC Today. Like, they are following suit. They published this article that basically implies that he took inspiration for the attack on the healthcare CEO from Among Us, right? Like, they recap what the friend said. Then the reporter details what Among Us is, and she's accurate in how she details it, right? She says, like, it's a game where you're on a cruise ship, yada, yada, yada. But she always says players play a killer, like in quotation marks. And it's very, very clear what they're trying to do. Like, the fact that they keep raising, you're a killer, you're supposed to trick other people. It's like, it's kind of like what we were saying earlier, Jacob, right? It's like, A equals B, so B equals C. Thus A equals C. They're not saying Among Us did it, but they're putting all of the trail there for you, the reader, to go and connect it in your mind. And it's just like, of all the games, of all the things, Among Us.
How many kids were like banned from playing the game after their parents saw this and they were?
I'm sure the what do kids even use nowadays? The Neopets message boards are alight with complaints.
Yeah, Gaia Online.
Yes, Gaia Online, the last pirate server for Ragnarok somewhere. Like, yeah, like the kids probably have been banned off of Among Us for this, but this is sort of like what we're talking about, right? Anything to push a narrative, you can take a ridiculous swing like that. And it's like, I brought this up in the article. We talk about this on Bounding, or here on the 01 and on Bounding and on Cider's show all the time, and on our individual channels. Like, video games, comics, all the stuff we sort of like is always looked down as like not real, not serious. Why should we give it any care? And because of that mentality, that immature mentality, video games for some reason are still this valid attack target, even though if you tried to say a movie or a song or a book inspired somebody to go do an action like this, you would be laughed out of wherever you are. I pointed it out in the article. One of the things that a lot of people are centering around now that, all the information's coming out, is Mangione had a Goodreads account where he was actively like reading stuff, reviewing stuff. It's basically like his most popular social media platform. But
see, this is why I don't trust people who read books, because
that's what I'm saying. Never trust a reader. If you don't get your news from a mobile device, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
But
you guys want to see a little preview of this dangerous content in this game that's referred to as Among Us?
Please.
You want to see? You want to see what happens when you leave your kids in these type of, like, this is the type of violence that you have to deal with in these Among Us lobbies.
Someone next to that. Well, that guy is gone.
Does me know that for sure?
Me knows 100% that me saw who and someone next to that guy, and now that guy is dead. Me killed that guy for sure.
Who thinks who saw me?
You see them?
Who saw someone and who saw me? Maybe.
Myself.
Who not?
Me saw who? Me saw who? Dude, saw myself.
It just sounds like regular delirium.
Me saw who? Me killed that guy.
Me
killed that dude.
Me
not
kill. Who did not kill? Who is
Me not
kill?
kill. Me killed.
Someone vote me?
Wow.
Me not kill someone. Me not kill who?
Are we voting for who? No, who is crew?
Me vote you.
Me?
Me. Who are we voting?
Skip.
Who's voting me?
It was who? It was who? Her listen to me.
Who? Some dude.
Hell are you?
Me who and some dude.
Do you see, guys? That is the dangerous propaganda that your kids are being exposed to when they play Among Us. Do you guys remember? I feel like I might have told this to Nerdigans. I told it to somebody, but do you guys remember like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when like video games started, like online video gaming started being that flash in the pan panic point for like the media? And they said like, the new trend is your kids are like exchanging terrorist planning messages in Call of Duty games.
Do
or
you
Mario
know
Maker.
who your kids are gaming with?
Right. But they were like, yeah, if they go into a Call of Duty lobby, criminals can shoot orders on the wall and the bullet points will write out the message. And then when you disconnect, it's gone. Or they can make a level in Mario Maker that if you collect a certain amount of coins, other coins pop up and those coins like paint a message. And I'm just like, wow, like this is just straight up D&D Satanic Panic with a new form. It's so insane that, and again, it's because they think that this is an immature medium, so they're okay with attacking it. Like the Goodreads account for Mangione, he literally gave a 4-star rating to the Unabomber's Manifesto. Regardless of what you think on it, in logic dictates that if you were going to try and look for what media did you engage in that might have led to this, you would think it's the big old piece of writing that says our current society is not working.
well, more importantly, the current society is being manipulated.
That too, yes.
And that it would work if it was not being manipulated by people who profit from the manipulation. That's the crux of his entire argument.
That's true, yeah.
But it's jelly beans killing themselves in space. That's what did it. That's what put him over the edge. Absolutely. And so now you know that. I just wanted to say this.
Yeah.
I'm curious what Inner Sloth did to piss off the gaming elite to have their head on this, not Black Myth Wukong, right? They hate Black Myth Wukong with a passion. So what did Inner Sloth do that pissed them off worse than those Chinese guys outselling everybody this year?
Just give it time. We'll find. Remember all the like about a month ago, there was like that truck of like monkeys that crashed and they all like escaped out into like Tennessee or something. They've only recovered like 18 of them. So next month we're gonna get a kid hanging out with like, you know, he'll find the ape in the backyard and he'll befriend it, and then as apes are wont to do, it'll rip his face off and somebody will write an article like, did Black Myth Wukong teach kids that monkeys were good people? We need to investigate this. Like I can totally see that happening. And also, yeah, watch out for those monkeys and lab vials, right, Cider?
Yeah,
everything.
It blew my mind. So apparently, I think it's up in Canada, or maybe it's here in the US.
I saw you react to this.
One or the other.
I was
There's
dying.
this guy just walked out of a weapons lab, bioweapons lab, with vials of like the most heinous viruses known to that facility, and people are like, it's just gone. We don't know where he went. Like, excuse you, why are these things even able to fit in somebody's pocket? Why is anybody even able to get through any type of redundancy system with them on? They don't have little trackers that say, you shouldn't go outside. Beep, 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 beep. There's none of that. It's just, it blew my mind. So I said, chain it to the floor. There should be no reason why all of this is chained to the floor. You want to build a bioweapon? We got all the data. You can do it on another site. I live like 2 hours from
things, right side of like the glove box where you like when you're handling like hazardous
there should be no reason why viruses. There should be no reason why live viruses are traveling here in the U.S. There should be no reason if we're intending to use bioweapons as they were intended to be designed, right, as a deterrence. There should be no reason why these things are traveling. You can make it in another facility. You don't put it on the road. I live near one.
Yeah.
There's Jackson Labs up here in Maine, has some of the most heinous stuff that Wuhan couldn't even dream of. All right? And they're running stuff up and down the road?
Oh, wait, what was it from that movie we were talking about last week? The where they get like COVID-23 or whatever it was, remember? That stupid movie that just popped into my head.
Well, speaking of stupid movies.
Oh, Mike, that's what we were talking Michael Bay, and that was a movie he made during the that's what it was. There we go.
Right.
Yeah.
He was just bored one day and he's like, I think I'll expose the entire elitist apparatus to erase humanity.
I like to imagine that he just like printed out a bunch of reports for like COVID-19 and then just took like a red marker and went 23. And then
that was the one. That was the Jim Carrey freaky number. People will remember that. It's a creepy number.
I remember that. Yeah. For like
so
no
here we
reason.
go. Speaking of no reason, we predicted this earlier this year when Kevin Feige was like,
no, not we. Take your bow, buddy. Take your bow.
Okay. So I pretty much laid out the roadmap to how this whole thing was going to work, and then it happened. So it's almost exactly.
Cider predicts is back.
Yeah, it's Cider predict dead, right? And so as I said, Chris Evans would be back, and he would be opposite of Robert Downey Jr. I originally predicted that he was going to be Reed kid there, Benjamin Reed.
Oh yeah,
the Beyonder boy, and he was going to be the opposite, fighting Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr., and that was going to be the end of the reset, and they were going to do this whole thing. And now we find out that Chris Evans will, in fact, be returning to his role, and he will be opposite of dear old Robert Downey Jr. In Avengers Derps Day. So,
Derps Day. I like that name a lot better.
The best like response I saw to this was somebody was like, I used to watch these movies religiously, and I don't feel anything about this. And I'm like,
right,
yeah, like
he won't be Captain America. That's not happening because they can't do that to Sam, especially after this huge fucking thing that happened with Brave New World.
Well, if you remember, there was a rumor about, I want to say like a year and a half ago, that internally Marvel was not happy with the fact that people still liked Captain America, specifically because they found him too much of a like pro-US government icon.
Well, his name is Captain America.
Right. And so there was this a leak. I forget who leaked it out. I want to say it was like Hey It's Me, or not Hey It's Me in HD. What's that?
My
account?
Time to Shine.
My Time to Shine. My Time to Shine. Yes, exactly, Cider. You had me. Same sort of naming structure. They came out and they were like, Marvel is looking to sort of undercut Steve Rogers so that they can sort of, humiliate his character and drag his character down so that less people care about America, Captain America. So if he's coming back, I don't know if he'll be our Cap, like the main Marvel Universe Cap. I fear that we're going to get a Cap who is somehow more deranged. Either he's going to be like the one from Secret Empire that was secretly Hydra, or he's going to be like John Walker was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where he's just unhinged and violence first. That's what I think is going to happen. Is they're going to give us a version of Cap who is Cap, but then subvert your expectation. He's kind of the worst person possible. So now we'll have Carter and Sam. Those are your new.
For some reason, I never considered Nazi Cap, but considering that they're just re-invoking anything from the crappy run of the comics, they might just end up doing Nazi Cap.
Just to give that big FU to, if you like Cap, you're the alt-right or whatever they're on now.
Well, I just wanna remind everybody what I predicted here, and that was him coming back as Ben Reed, or whatever the hell the character's name is. So anyway, the situation is that Chris Evans is not going to play a Nazi. I'm sorry, guys, he's not going to play a Nazi. He made his brand about pissing down Trump's face about all of that.
And that's the only thing that makes me feel, because like I think you're right. Like on its surface, my initial reaction would be, Evans wouldn't do that. He's not going to play a Nazi. But if it's this chance for him to, let's say, like save his legacy of the character or whatever, right? Like Evans probably doesn't like the direction or that association with Cap. So if he could come back and get people away from that idea of Cap and push him either to Peggy or Sam, I feel like he would be okay doing that, because then he'd go out and he'd give all of these interviews about like, I came back because I wanted to show everybody, they loved my Captain America. They what do you call it? Like not idolize, but like put him up on a pedestal. They like worshipped him. And I just want, like, after I was done with the role, I realized like they took the wrong message away from my character. So I wanted to come back and, as an American, give them the gritty truth of America, which is it's not great. It's inherently fascist or whatever, something stupid like that. Like it's all just a fart that he's gonna huff.
So,
I mean, another thing about this that I find very interesting is like I'm glad we're basically at a point now where we admitted that none of these guys' career outside the MCU went anywhere.
I was hoping
right?
you were gonna hit that, yeah. Because
none of them. Like, in all honesty, Chris Evans might end up being the worst out of the core like Avengers group as far as like anything relevant outside of like just being Captain America. Because it's like you have to ask yourself, what has he really done since like even Scarlett Johansson and all? At least she got got a solo movie out of like this after the whole thing was said and done. Like he doesn't even like have that. It's like Chris Hemsworth did his own thing on Netflix. It's like what's his name? The other Chris Pratt. He's been in until like a bunch of things like still. Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. just won an Oscar. Exactly. But it's like Chris, like what is Chris Evans like last couple years? He was in that terrible movie with Anna de Armas, which is one of the worst movies of the year. And then so bad. And then he was just in that Rock holiday movie that just bombed horribly too.
Right, so. Red one, yeah. But then he's also in like The Gray Man, right? Like
yeah.
Knives Out, he was in a Knives Out.
So the reason why we don't see Chris Evans in I don't know why he looks like Conan O'Brien in this one. It's kind of but this is an AI picture and it kind of proves my point. So what we're looking at here is Henry Cavill's Superman and Chris Evans Captain America in an elevator.
Honestly, for an AI, that's really damn good.
It's really good. It seems to be the ring cam. When you type in ring cam into the AI, it gets it right on.
Like right on.
Otherwise, it tries to avoid it without legal reasons.
It's like if I stare for a few seconds, I can see that eye thing you always talk about, Cider, but that's only if I like focus on it.
If you're looking quick, it's like, oh, hey, Conan O'Brien and Henry Cavill are that's neat. Anyway, so what I'm pointing out is that for the same reasons they got rid of Henry Cavill, the same reason they got rid of Chris Evans. Now they're going to tell you it is because he is too old, right? And that is not the case. We know that that Henry Cavill got the boot because he is more popular than the character that he's playing. Okay. Now this is the inverse with Chris Evans. Chris Evans became Captain America. All right. Now this is for the same reason he got kicked out, is that they can't have a bright, shiny white guy running around exemplifying what it is to be America. And that's why he never got another movie. That's why he never did anything else until Sam took over the role. And then they went Captain America crazy. And that's why we have a $500 million monstrosity about to come out and murder Disney's bottom line. So that's what happened here is they cannot give Chris Evans a way back. And that's why I'm saying he's not going to be Captain America, just like Downey isn't Iron Man. All right. You're going to see him come back as most likely that Beyonder character, because people really, really hung on to the two of them fighting. They really, really hung on to, I can do this all day, and I was your friend too. They really held on to Captain America, and more specifically, Tony and Steve being at each other's throats. But now let's go back to what Kevin Feige said. We can bring them back, but it has to have great care done, okay? So we're not bringing back Captain America. We are not bringing back Iron Man. They will be different characters. And that's why he said this Wolverine proves that you can bring back Chris Evans and have him play something else.
I was just about to say,
And that's what this is all about. I'm so sorry, but it is not going to be anything to do with the Hydra Cap. If anything, you'll see that character show up and you'll have a white Black Panther and they'll be working together being nefarious assholes. And the return of Scarlet Witch will result in them exploding from the penis forward, you know?
Like nothing, even like at first that joke sounded funny, and I was like, yeah, that like I can see them doing that, taking that white Black Panther swing. And then for some reason, once you brought up the Scarlet Witch's name, and it sort of like sunk in that this was like that big Marvel crossover, I kind of like it left me. I was just like, ugh.
Now hold on a second. Here's the Hail Mary scenario of this whole thing here, right? Because we have to keep in mind this announcement was made officially last week on the heels of everything that we've been talking about Captain America: Brave New World, which is certifiably a dumpster fire. It is a $400 million disaster right now, which they have to know behind closed doors they're going to eat their lunch with that movie. There's just no way that there's anything positive coming for that. So is it now such a disaster with this Captain America movie that they essentially have no choice but to come back and bring back the OG Captain America to be a part of the Avengers one? Because it's like we can't have Sam Cap be the leading Captain America in Avengers Doomsday because we're basically mortgaging our entire future on Doomsday being a success. So could this just be, hey, look, we're taking a knee on Black Captain America and bringing back the white guy because we screwed up so badly?
And like that's the problem. I can see that as like if somebody up there finally decided, all right, let's take our L's, let's try again. Like we messed up. I could see Jacobs coming true because they are really, really desperate for money right now. And if you threw Captain America in like just if you did Captain America Chris Evans, threw him back in the Avengers movie, or even made him the new secret what do you call it, final credit scene in Brave New World, you're gonna get some money from the normies. Like they're all gonna pour out, even the ones who are tired of Marvel. They're gonna go, oh, I love Cap, I'm back for that. But the problem with that is that it's predicated on that idea of them actually taking an L, of them admitting they've done anything wrong. And if they haven't done it after Black Widow, if they haven't done it after
Shang-Chi,
if they haven't done it after the Marvels, like at this point, they're not going to do it. They're going to stand here and tell you like, no, this is great. As like for like an analogy, like Rome burns around them and they're just going to be narrow. Like, no, it's great. Yeah, city's burning, but we've got Library of Alexandria 9, the multiverse saga coming out. Don't worry about it.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, I just wanted to say, and it's not that wouldn't be a logical thing, but they're dealing with this incredibly militant fan base that will indefinitely interpret that the white man was superior to the black man, and they will not tolerate him coming back in Captain America in any form whatsoever. It's why they didn't do Iron Man, right? Think about it. You know as well as I do. Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans returning to their original roles to fight some new, like Mads Mikkelsen as Doctor Doom, would just burn down theaters. You couldn't get people in the theater fast enough, you know?
Yeah.
People would love that shit. You could have Sabaton do the soundtrack of it. People just be falling all over each other. It wouldn't matter what you did with it. You had the two mega stars of the MCU. Now, outside of it, they're pretty much useless. But within it, they're the mega stars of the MCU. That would make perfect sense, but they can't piss off that militant base because they're the ones that have kept Disney Plus alive and Doctor Who, the ungodly continuing adventures of gayness.
Genuinely surprised that thing is coming back for like another season. That has to be one of those like we ordered two and we're just pretending situations.
So this is the Hail Mary. You're right. Is that they're not going to have Sam do much. It is going to focus on Chris Evans' character coming in and being the new leader with whatever they assign him as for the multiverse version of himself. Again, that's why I say he would be Ben Reed, because he would then have the authority to tell Sam, I got it from here. And Sam believes him because he looks like Steve, so he has that moment where he looks back at like whoever else is Hawkeye. And he says, hey, I trust him because he looks like a guy I know. And he plays off the cool soldier thing, and he does the on your left thing with him, and of course, because he's a different character, he doesn't understand it, and Sam gets the satisfaction of pulling one over on old Cap.
You've raised that idea. You've raised it before when we were talking about Doom. Like they're gonna be like, I can't fight him, he's my friend, and it's like, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but like you're right, like it's gonna happen. It's either gonna be Evans or it's gonna be Tony. Like that stupid line will come up, and everybody will go, right? Like remember how we all sort of like groaned and rolled our eyes when Star-Lord literally let Thanos win because Thanos just said one mean thing. It's going to be that level, but worse, but far, far worse.
And then Gamora kicked him in the balls when he was trying to tell her that he nearly killed himself, trying to get her memory and existence back. But hey, whatever, screw man. We don't know.
I do feel bad for James Gunn in that regard, because he was like, not only is that not what I would have done with the Guardians, but they also sort of like everything they did just ran over all the plans I had for it, because now the characters are completely different. And I'm like, oh, it's gotta suck. Like you have a lot of L's lately, James Gunn, but I'll always be on your side for that one, because that one probably sucks really hard.
Speaking of L's, I don't think this Clayface movie that we just heard about is going to work out.
Thank you, Nerdigans, for dropping this. Yeah, so Nerdigans just dropped this. It is apparently breaking as of like when we jumped on the stream.
Yeah.
So it looks like DC Studios is greenlighting a Clayface movie from the director of Dr. Sleep, Mike Flanagan. That's sort of all we really know right now. Yeah, this doesn't inspire me with confidence, right? Because one, you're already adding projects to your... James Gunn came out and he said, I have a roadmap. Here are the established series I'm going to start with to build the DC like you. And now he's kind of just like adding everything, and there's not really a plan. And with the premiere of Creature Commandos, I genuinely don't trust him anymore to be a good herald for this universe. The very opening of Creature Commandos is subverting your expectations, running over comic book canon, and directly insulting the viewers. That's the first moment of this new DCU. and it's written by James Gunn himself. He's out there, oh, Creature Commandos is mine. So like this, just to me, they're following in this is now the equivalent of how DC Studios was before, when they were just like, oh yeah, Black Adam movie. Oh yeah, the Aquaman 2's over there. Oh, Green Lantern movie, 7 Flash movies, Supergirl. Like they were just greenlighting everything, and we never saw any of it because it never came to fruition.
I think this is part of the Matt Reeves universe, isn't it?
I don't know. They don't say which universe, but here's the problem, or not problem, but here's where I'm coming from, Nerdigans. In the article, they say Flanagan, who first pitched DC Studios on a Clayface project in 2023. So if he's going to DC Studios instead of Warner Brother Pictures, which is who like if you want to deviate everything up, that's technically who that's the editorial office, if you will, that has Reeves's Batman, because Reeves's Batman isn't DCU.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going off of. You're right. It could be in Matt Reeves's you're right. It could be in Matt Reeves's universe. But then to me, that brings in another problem, which is for all intents and purposes, from what I've heard from people, I haven't seen it yet, but you got a really good grounded, like realistic vigilante in real life Batman out of this. The Penguin's a realistic villain. That's why we just had a freaking entire season of a show about him. Now you're going to introduce a shapeshifter, which it's not the most crazy of Batman's villains, but you're introducing that supernatural bit to your grounded universe. Now you have to deal with that, and you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You can't have a Clayface movie and then go, oh yeah, now our next movie is about Harvey Dent, who is just a good old prosecutor who got his face burned. It's like, well, that's not true. Now we know that there are things in the world that are going weird. So why don't you just add it to the DC? That's sort of what I'm getting at. Like, I don't know what they're doing over there. And James Gunn does not make me confident in what he's doing.
To be completely honest, it is going to be a Penguin style situation. They don't have confidence in creating a series about this because Clayface's story is kind of open and shut. It's not as expansive and ongoing as Penguin's story is. And so this is undoubtedly going to mirror Penguin, but have the trappings of the DCU in that it will have a fantastical element. Whereas Reeves has been more Nolan-esque with his hard science Batman. And so this will be more magical Batman. Expect, geez, you think they could dig up George Clooney after that Biden thing? You could get bat nipples back out there. He'd be busy, right?
He's got nothing going on. You could do that. I mean,
right.
Val Kilmer's still alive, right? He just can't talk. So you could have him.
Well, that's just it, is that this is not going to feature Batman, but they have to ground it in the time of Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
The whole crux of Clayface's story is that he's an actor and he lost his ability due to, I think, a chemical exposure like every other asshole in Gotham. Yep. And so, like, the Ace Chemical Company really needs to work on their fucking railings, okay? Really, really, really needs to install some fucking suicide nets over the bats, okay?
Hey, Mayor Nakano, who's the current mayor, he promised that Gotham would build back better, okay? We need to take it up with him.
Right. We're going to start with Ace Chemicals and their fucking railings. But anyway, so Clayface's story is probably going to revolve around, we have a slightly more modernist take, but they're going to keep it in the 90s because cell phones really piss off directors and writers right now. So you're going to have like a 90s obsessed with fame actor in a Gotham-esque city following the Joker, right? Following the Joker style of, are we Batman? Is Batman good as stuff? Ooh, maybe. There's a Wayne Foundation, Wayne Industries, who knows? You know, they're going to flirt with that because it gets people in the seat to hopefully see some silhouette of an asshole in a bat costume leaping across a rooftop for 2 seconds. And so the rest of the movie is just going to agonize about an actor losing his identity to some chemical crisis, and it'll play off like kind of the Toxic Avenger, probably what it'll be.
Well, here's the thing. Go ahead,
like,
we saw it in Suicide Squad Isekai how Clayface could be done. Like, he could be like real suave, he could be slick, he could be interesting.
Nope, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that, though, because they don't have a good enough writer and a good enough director for it. That's the problem.
Right.
They're going to do a piece of shit actor, and he's going to get his comeuppance with the chemical exposure, and then he's going to become an underground hero as a monster that can change his face for just a little longer, and then but he has to do it manually, right? He's not able to shapeshift on demand because it's new to him. So that's
Oh, I
why they
kinda
call
like
him
that visual.
Clayface.
Like,
That's why they call him Clayface,
that would be
because he
cool.
literally rearranges his face in order to commit crime. So there you go.
And see, like that's cool, but to me, it's still too fantastical. Like if he had like and I know this sounds even stupider, but I'm just trying to work within what we have. Like if you gave him some sort of mask that was like, we have them nowadays, like the masks that can warp or whatever, or project an image. I could see that working, and maybe if he tries to like impersonate other people, and that's how he gets the nickname Clayface, even though he's not really Clayface. It's just, yeah, once you start bringing in anything fantastical, that's when we're going to start going off the rails really hard here, because of what you two said, which is the writers here aren't going to handle it well.
Well, they have to bring in the fantastical with DCU. That's the point of it being separate from the Reeves verse.
Yeah.
So,
but if it was, here's the thing, if it was in the Reeves verse, it would be, because I'm just thinking I know it's not the same as Tappy's writing. If Tappy was doing this, it would be interesting. Just thinking about because Tappy's Clayface was so he was like what would you realize?
I just realized they're gonna rip that off. They're gonna
you think they're gonna rip off Tappy's Clayface, you think?
I do. I think they're gonna physically. They're gonna make him look like that. He'll be like a Johnny Depp looking character,
like Johnny Depp, Michael Jackson kind of thing.
Well, more Johnny Depp in order to get revenge on him for Amber Heard now that she's gone into seclusion, pooping on not famous.
She just had another kid. Hooray!
But like I'm just thinking of like that suaveness he had like that like slick like monologue, that like LARPer kind of thing.
The Dark Man. The Dark Man. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I'm just thinking that you could do so much with it, like in a grounded universe, if you just focus on like that brooding actor, like right after he lost his career. The moment he lost his career as an actor, like if this is in the Reeves universe, it's like the moment he lost his job as an actor, and like right before the radiation hit, that's where I'm thinking it would take place in the Reeves universe.
So so I see what you're saying, Nerdigans, and if we're playing the cards we're dealt, that actually doesn't sound too awful, even though that does sound like it would be a little bit of a Surf Dracula situation where we spend all season waiting for him to get his Clayface powers, and then he gets it at the end and it's like one scene. But in terms of narrative and what Reeves is going for, like that could make sense. What I fear is that like you do that, and then just the second Reeves or whomever else might be in that like production team, the second they're gone, the next writer goes, okay, well, we introduced Clayface. Can't we just introduce the Lazarus Pits now? And it's like jump from like 1 to 900. And then it's like, all right, might as well freaking, where's Batmite? Just bring in Batmite at this point, Matt Reeves. Like, who cares? That's just my fear.
This is just what I've thought about what they're going to do. Okay, so the DCU implies it'll be more fantastical. Clayface possibly gets his powers by breaking into Victor Freeze's lab, having heard that he was working on a cryogenic thing and mistaking it for the fountain of youth that preserves someone's appearance forever. Smears himself with it, and as a result, he goes into this catatonic state, well, rather the psychotic state because of the abuse being done to his face on the chemical level, whatever, pushes Victor into the vat. Thus, Freeze and Clayface are born at the same time. Freeze goes into deep hiding because he has to build his suit. We follow Clayface through the story, and then Freeze gets his standalone story next. That feels like they're going to try and do like Gotham, but with more steps.
I could see that too, and then you get like the the obsession, the actor obsession going, and the like have like the brooding actor like losing his youth after like losing his job over his youth, and like just going into that obsession. That would work, especially in terms of a Reeves grounded story, and then go into the Mr. Freeze content.
And because for whatever reason chemicals cause him to forget what his face looks like, Clayface can never go back to what he originally looked like. He can only assume other faces. And so he's always on the run from Freeze, because Freeze can break him down at the atomic level by hitting him with the cold gun and busting him up. So he has to stay like, I don't know what happened to you, man. I heard a bunch of things through the grapevine that some fella broke in, fucked up real bad, got you into that suit. I'm real sorry that happened to you. I'll tell you what, I'll try to help you find him. And so he's forever running from Freeze, who's always a cold breath from hell away.
That would be good. And it would work again. This would work in the Matt Reeves universe like perfectly, because Matt Reeves' universe is about origin stories, from what I'm getting.
It's a little too fantastic for Matt, though.
You think so?
Yeah, he's really Nolan-esque in how. Like, you can look how he handled the Riddler. The Riddler didn't have any crazy machinery. He had a water main that he set to blow, and that was the craziest thing that he did in the whole movie. And that's very Nolan-esque, in that the Joker didn't release any gas that turned anybody to having big smiles. He didn't have hyenas. He didn't have Harley. He was just a deranged, well, according to Nolan, he was a deranged Afghan veteran that came back to create vengeance in Gotham because League of Shadows said so, something. So.
Yeah, a guy in a bat costume who like puts like petty criminals in the hospital. That wasn't scary enough for Gotham, so.
Right. And so that's
you gotta
Reeves.
up the game.
Reeves also has Batman wearing like clamps on for his Batman. You know, he's like wire cutters for his Batman symbol on his chest too. So you got to remember he's very, very, very basic. Batman was wearing like these arrow holders on his legs to hold the different bat utensils and stuff. He didn't have this amazing bottomless utility belt that had like a car inside of it and stuff. You know, the Capsule Corp capsules.
Yeah.
You know, he would just release the so that's where like the 3 Batman in 1 movie thing with the Flash comes in over in the DCU, where Warner Brothers says, over here's the real serious Nolan-esque Batman that you like, the really serious grounded one that has villains that are just kind of really, really smart regular criminals that don't make stupid criminal decisions from real life, so they're difficult to catch. And then over here on this side is James Gunn's wacky, crazy children's adventure that sometimes talks about sodomy. And so that's that's where you're at, because Superman is setting a vastly different tone that Reeves' verse can't fit into. There's no way that Reeves' Batman can coexist with the world that Superman is entering into, because superheroes are killing people in the setting. That's where Superman's problem is. He's saying, hey, don't kill people. And so if superheroes are killing people in Reeves' setting, Riddler would have made it once. And Mr. Terrific would have showed up with anything that could fire
it would have been like a 10-minute short film, if that. And most of that is the travel time.
In this setting too. So anything that like Penguin could come up with, and Captain Atom's like, microwave. Okay, all right, see you later, guys. You know, and that's flatly these two things. I know it's really cool to have them exist in the same place. You have this really grounded, really solid kind of Batman, really feeling the violence of Gotham, really feeling less the Christian Bale style grief, but you're feeling more of the Pattinson, I'm in the woods and I sparkle vampire and I can't die kind of agony. Like I'm trapped between worlds agony. Does that very well. So,
I do have more info on the film, from one of the leakers that posted this. They said that the script is finished and that it's going to be after Supergirl. It's coming after Supergirl.
Okay, so that means that it is inside of the Reeves verse. Excuse me, it's inside of the DCU with all the fantastical elements, because that Supergirl has like a wild adventure with a sword.
And it's also like, okay, that makes it weirder because Gunn hasn't said anything about Batman. So we're just going to show Clayface before Batman?
Yes, that makes perfect sense to me. Hold on.
Yeah.
Batman
you mean the Sony? You mean the Sony playbook of world building works fine?
No, that's just it. Batman will be a response to the Penguin. He'll be a response to Clayface. He'll be a response to Mr. Freeze. He'll be a response to all of these things that the Gotham police can't handle. And Bruce will find his courage in that he protects people from criminals who go above the law, outside of Gordon's control. And that will authorize Gordon to allow him, like plot-wise, to team up with him. And he'll be one of those ACAB kind of guys that's like, you know, my guys are a little too rough for this one. We got this little girl named Ace. She's got mind powers, totally tore Gotham Central Park apart, man.
They would never.
You think so, but James Gunn is one of those guys that likes to grab you by the heartstrings and do jump ropes with it. The cheap kind. And that's what I'm saying, is that you're gonna end up with like a wild menagerie of things that build up to Batman now. I think so. Because you remember, it's not about Superman anymore. Superman's just Batman's backup. When Batman gets in too deep, he hits the Superman button. Superman's like, "Who do you need me to kill?" And that's just it's just how it goes.
Right.
And so
yeah, like
Batman will be like this huge buildup. So Superman says, "We got to stop killing," okay? And because that's Batman's rule. All right. So here we are. Then Batman's villains get in.
By the way, the leaker did say that it's definitely DCU. It's not Reeves.
Yeah, and so there we go. So we have them building toward Batman. So there's this huge, like Thanos-esque buildup to Batman arriving, and he is, of course, the flagship, most like known, beloved DC character right now. So that's how they'll do it, and he'll be like, Superman will be like, finally, a human that understands, and that's how they'll be equal. Superman won't admire Bruce's strength; he'll admire his fortitude of character,
his like tenacity. Yeah. And I'm wrong, guys. I just looked it up. We do have our Batman announcement for the DCU. That's that Brave and the Bold movie that's going to come from Andy Muschietti, who did The Flash. Which, if you saw The Flash, you saw how Muschietti handles a Batman. Does not really inspire confidence. Didn't you guys find it so funny that like Batman accidentally touched Diana's lasso and talked about how he was just a scared little boy? Like that was really funny. That was so great.
That was peak comedy.
But that's what you'll see. Comedy. Is that will build up to your Batman that won't have like the bat tank. He won't be 66 Batman either. He'll probably be more 90s Batman in that he tries not to kill, but sometimes it happens. And he'll be that kind of like resentful, remorseful kind of guy. No dead sidekicks. Superman will probably inspire that in him in this story.
I mean, we'll see, because Brave and the Bold is supposed to be about him and Damian. So they're already throwing us like into the deep end of canon.
Oh, I hate Damian
are they going to skip everybody? I don't know. Are they going to just...
Does anyone like Damian? No. The answer is no.
James Gunn hates canon, though, remember? He said, like, canon don't matter.
Yeah, anybody who says that is full of it.
Coming up here on the end of the show and the end of this night, I figured this would be a good clip to end the show with. Charles Barkley made an interesting comment about a certain person who's in the media who's being alleged to do some things that are not so good. No, he's in the clip, but this is right
here. Shit.
Yeah.
You think Jay-Z or probably not a good time right now?
There he is.
You're silly, man. You're silly. You're wrong. You're silly, man. You're silly, man.
Go see if you can fix the wall, will you, Shaq?
Fix the wall, man.
Yeah. Here, back here.
Fix the wall,
I'll go
man.
see if I can fix the wall.
My point was too soon, Kenny.
My point was
you think Jay-Z or probably not a good time right now? You're silly, man. You're silly. You're wrong. You're silly, man.
When Shaq gets up, it's over, you know?
Yeah. It's like just abandon the entire
I just
segment.
love that from Charles. He's like, probably not the good time right now, buddy.
You send me that. I'm going to cut that out. That's going to be another reaction here. I'll put that in one of our clips. It's probably not a good time right now.
Yeah,
and, you know, I'm just going to cut that out and be like one of our clips.
That clip should just be used as a
Probably not a good time
reaction,
right now.
period.
Yeah.
It's so good. Probably not a good time right now.
Yeah. And that's just as when Shaq does the facial reactions all the time. He does his weird faces, all that stuff. That's his thing. He's always done that ever since. That's why he got the job in all the movies, because he could emote really well.
Yeah.
You know, you could always tell when Shaq's happy and when he's mad, when he's confused. It was very obvious. However, when that man gets up and just leaves the room, the level of embarrassment has gone through the roof. The level of uncomfortability. I don't want to be here right now.
This is the man who started Steel, and he's like, I can't take this.
Right. This is too embarrassing for me. Oh man, I love that movie so much.
But no, I think that is a really good stamp to put on the stream. If you guys saw, Jay-Z is in a bit of legal trouble. That entire web of what do you want to call it? Like the Diddy web is unraveling.
Diddy web. Oh,
the diddler.
The diddler will be caught. The diddler is on the run from the Batman. But in case you guys are,
or were you here earlier when I pitched the idea that they should do like a Blumhouse like horror movie like at a prison where everyone's just trying to run from Diddy for like an hour?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I did. I was like, I didn't hear a horror. Then the Diddy part, I was like, oh yeah, never mind. You did talk about that. Yeah, no, it's coming. Also, I don't know. Just a quick sidebar on this. It's so funny to me, dude, that like 50 Cent keeps making like Diddy documentaries like every month, and they're all like the downfall of Diddy 4. I'm just like hate. Like,
so you're already taking shots at Jay-Z because Jay-Z went to the Lion King premiere a couple nights ago. I was like, yeah, maybe we probably should have set that one out for a little bit.
Yeah, right. Well, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Jay-Z has been accused of assaulting in a very unfortunate manner a 13-year-old girl. He is now trying to deny it, or he is denying it, obviously, like they would. But yeah, so he went to the Lion King premiere like the day it came, that accusation hit, which is like not a great look. And then
let's
like
go see a
his
kids movie.
or like Beyonce's mom or something, like Beyonce's mom or sister liked a post on Instagram about him being like accused, and I'm just like, dude, this is gonna unravel.
Dude, you talk about skeletons in the closet. We forget that it was like 15 years ago that a video leaked online where Beyonce's sister Solange literally attacked Jay-Z in the elevator.
Oh yeah,
and the whole reasoning behind that got completely swept under the rug, but that video still exists to this day. So
Jake,
no, go ahead. I was
no, this was just okay. So, Jacob, before we go, Sacramento wanted to celebrate that you're feeling better.
Oh, yay. Healing good. Oh, yeah, because I wasn't here last week. I forgot to even mention that.
You were sounding awful. Like you weren't here last week, but we caught you over on the.
I literally spent.
Dude, you were.
I literally spent all last Wednesday in bed. I didn't leave like once.
No, well
I didn't even get up and check my mail. It just stayed in bed all week.
That's why when we were like, when you were doing the Bible lens, I was like, drink your tea, because I'm like, get better, like keep going.
Yeah,
Don't burn yourself out.
So, nothing to discuss, but I just want to show this off. It's genius. They did a Home Alone parody for Sonic 3 poster.
I'm so excited for this movie. I feel like I haven't been excited for a movie in a while, and
right.
This is like hitting all the right spots of like nostalgia, of not nostalgia, of like something new. I don't know.
Jim Carrey's actually happy in it. Like it's kind of cured his depression.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Like that scene that we saw in the trailer. If our viewers remember when we were watching it the other night, like I laughed really hard at the very end at that scene where like Gerald's Santa and like Robotnik sees him and like and like jumps and takes him out. I'm like, there is pure joy radiating from every element of that shot or of that scene. I'm ready.
Wait until you see the two of them dancing in the laser thing where they built the suits that deflect the lasers and they have to do the crazy dance with each other in order to get through the laser hall. Oh, it's hilarious because it's Jim Carrey dancing with a stunt double, so it's amazing.
Like this movie is going to destroy Moana. Nobody's going to want to go see Lion King. This is going to be the movie.
Let's just say this. Prepare yourself for Sonic 15, okay? You're going to get as many Sonic movies as you've got Fast and the Furious movies, baby. They were going everywhere.
Well, did you hear the current like scoop is that the movie has like 5 post-credit scenes that keep happening throughout the credits and if that's true, that means it's 5 post-credit scenes that are probably all setting, maybe there's one that's a gag, but there's like 4 scenes that are all setting up future projects. Like,
yep.
It'd be great if like the whole thing was a gag where it's just one credit scene that just won't end.
Like the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
They parodied that. That would be great if they parodied the Lord of the Rings ending, where like it's 1 for 1, where it's just the Sonic characters wearing all the costumes. You know, like Sonic's Frodo.
The crown.
You've got Knuckles as Gandalf and stuff like that.
Shadow's Aragorn. He gets his crown.
Right, exactly. You kneel to no one, Sonic. You know. But so the thing is they have to do a shadow movie.
Like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles hanging out. What the heck?
They have to do a shadow movie next. You know that's the logical move. There's no way that they introduce Shadow and not immediately follow it with a Shadow solo movie. So buckle up. The 4th Sonic movie is going to be a Shadow movie, and you're going to meet.
And it will be based on and it will be based on Shadow the Hedgehog, the failed video game. It has to be. That's what
I want him to have a pump action AR-15.
Yes,
I demand that he has a pump action AR-15.
I want it to be an animated one, though. I really don't want it to be live action, but if it is what it is.
I mean, it's going to be like this. You know that. It's going to be a hybrid. And at the very least, like, at least this is a good hybridization. Like, I don't know about you, Nerdigans, but like the last 2 films have been pretty dang enjoyable. And I've never looked at them like, this is ugly. So, like, at least they're doing okay with that. I mean, I think we'd all love another Sonic animated project. Did you catch the anime preview they did, or like the mini anime they did for the Shadow game.
I'm
Nerdigans?
actually covering the Shadow the Hedgehog manga, which is freaking amazing.
Right.
Oh
But
my
like
God,
with that manga, they also released like a short,
yeah, they realized
like 4 or 5 episodes of this
the
mini.
anime is the mini anime is good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's like, we want that too. Can we have some of that? So maybe this leads to a big old Sonic renaissance. I mean, the movie is obviously going to kill it. The merchandise right now is one of the biggest sellers across like the world. Sonic is having this giant time in the market. And then his games are getting better. Everybody really liked that Shadow Generations one that came out. Most people liked that. What was that last one? Frontiers or whatever it was. So yeah,
Shadow the Hedgehog remake game would be really nice to have with the actual mechanics improved. Like, I know we're in an era of reboots and stuff, and some of these games don't need it, but a game that really needs it is Shadow the Hedgehog.
Sonic 06 needs it. Shadow needs it.
Here's what I want to just encapsulate this with, okay? All right. We need to watch the Snap Cube Shadow the Hedgehog cutscene movie thing that they put together where they redub it with their own voices. It's hilarious. Shadow ends up working for the devil, and it's hilarious. It's so funny. Hello, Shadow. I am the devil. He talks like that. I love it.
Oh gosh,
I love it so much.
We all know
so
that
gotta
guy.
Watch it. We've got to watch it. So anyway, that's it for me. And I got nothing else.
We're not gonna say goodbye to the Sonyverse.
Oh yeah, that's in case you guys didn't know. The Sony's Spider-Man universe without a Spider-Man is officially dead. And this was probably a smart decision, given that from what I'm seeing of critic scores, Kraven is coming out and it is scoring worse than Madam Web. So obviously, critic scores, we don't really take them for a lot these days, but I think we can use it as sort of a temperature gauge of how the critics are feeling. And if the critics aren't buying it, nobody else is really going to buy it. So all I can really say, I can't even say like so long and good luck, because I didn't like any of your entries. So
so long and thanks for all the fish.
I think the funniest part is that the Vulture is now stuck in a dead universe that doesn't with No Way Home, no pun intended. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, aside from that, I think we that's all we have for the week. Yeah, we all hit our last points. So with that, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. It is a genuine pleasure to be able to hang out with every single one of you every week. I know we had a lot of viewers tonight with the topics we discussed, so I'm glad to have been able to engage with all of you. You know, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, come hang out with us again. As always, we'll let you know what they've going on, starting with whoever Cider picks.
Miss Nerdigans, where do we find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga every day, and probably going to be covering the new chapter of Kingdom right after this, because I just found it. You can follow me on my Patreon, patreon.com/packergirl, for even more anime content. I am covering Dragon Ball Daima, and I will be covering the English dub that starts next month, because it's Stephanie Nadolny, and I love Stephanie Nadolny's Goku. So
wait, I thought it started right now.
No,
nope,
it's January 10th. It's January 12th, I thought.
Oh, then one of us is dumb, probably me. I'll just take the L on my end.
Yeah, that's what I saw in my in the Crunchyroll email. It was like,
oh, you probably know more than me. I'm just going off of like what I saw. If you have when it comes to anime, I will always defer to you.
Let me double check actually, because now I will feel dumb if I am wrong. Hold on a second, because I have it right in front of me. Where are you? Email.
Yay, email.
Hold on, I have it here.
I miss Homestar Runner.
Yeah, I love Homestar. Yeah, it's January 10th.
Okay, cool. I had it wrong. You also had it half wrong. So together, our powers combined, we got it right.
And then I am covering Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, which this past week's episode was so good. I'm not happy about the episode order, and there's other questionable things happening there. there really is, but God, a lot of the stuff this core is like the best of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, for sure. Next week is Jump Festa, and we will be talking about it here on Tokyo Happy Hour. There's a few anime that did get announced this over the past couple of days that I predicted would get announced because of their stages being on the Jump Festa schedule. We're just waiting for Marriage Toxin to get confirmed. Once that does,
is that getting an anime?
Takapi's Original Sin and Kindergarten Wars got confirmed, and they have Jump Festa stages, and Marriage Toxin has a Jump Festa stage as well. So that one should be getting an anime. It's on the Shonen Jump plus 10th anniversary stage. That's where that is. So yeah, we'll be talking about Jump Festa next week. That's why I haven't like proposed the Takapi's Original Sin and Kindergarten War stuff, because
Just waiting for it. Yeah.
yeah, like they have like the teaser trailers and stuff, but I'm gonna like do it when we get all the details.
Yep.
next
We
week.
know how you like to roll. You're the best
Yeah.
anime reporter we got there. That's why everybody comes to us for that coverage, because of
Yeah.
you.
And you can check me out on my Twitter right here, where I am causing a lot of shenanigans, and I've been updating the stuff about like the Dandadan blackwashing situation, and posting Japanese Twitter's feedback on it, because they are not happy with the double standard that is happening at all. And also, if you want to help contribute to my continuous struggle situation, please donate to my Cash App that is under there.
There we have it. Now, Mr. Jacob, where do we find you?
Society Reviews, YouTube, on Rumble, and on X. Go find me on all of those things. We have what going on over there. Friday, we're going to be doing the Friday Night Movie Club. We're winding down like the last 5 episodes of that show. We're going to be reviewing Kraven the Hunter and the Lord of the Rings movie this weekend. So yeah, those are two. I got a lot of movie reviews to catch up on, so I'm going to be working on that this weekend, because like I said, I've been pretty much grounded the last week thanks to being ill, so I'm kind of backlogged on stuff, so I'll be catching up over the next week or so. Sunday, we got the Bible Lens. We're going to be talking about more about Israel on Sunday, so go check out that podcast. And then Tuesday, next Bar Room. If you didn't see last night's episode, go check out last night's episode, because we talked about a lot there, so that's all I got.
Yeah, you guys went for a while last night.
Mhm.
Right.
In a good way. I was there. I was just like, heck yeah.
Chief Spencer, where do we find you?
Yep, that's me, guys. As always, you can check out boundingintocomics.com every day for new news content. You can check me out personally on my Twitter, Kabuto Writer Mav. My channel's Kabuto Studios or Foil Variant, depending on you want comic book talk or weeb talk. Come hang out with me. And yeah, aside from that, guys, just have a good night. I'm happy you could all join us. And you know, just to give you to our readers out there, we promise you that we are not going to, advocate for banning anything. We want you guys to have the freedom to choose what you want. So if you want that sort of news coverage, if you want us to keep covering censorship and all that sort of stuff, you know where to find us. Come hang out with us. Now, take it away, Satterman.
So this is what we want to ban coming up, okay? So no. So the situation is
only new writers, because Toei can't really.
Yeah, we definitely want to ban Rick and Morty writers, 100%.
Oh, them
you
too.
got it. Ban Rick and Morty. I think that's one we can all agree on. But speaking of things we can all agree on, dang it!
Shut up, Spencer.
So speaking of things we can all agree on, please tune in and watch the Bounding into Comics coverage of what's going on with Ubisoft, as it is taken apart like a Christmas ham. Please feel free to laugh at all of the fun little jokes we've made around here about them, especially at their expense. But please, we ask that you don't take it to their front door. That was what they want. They will definitely weaponize that against our efforts to make fun of them. So please find camaraderie, if you will, not camality. I don't know what that is. They should have done that for the Kamala race.
I was just about to say that campaign already lost, Cider.
Yeah, right. It could have fixed it for him just like that. Thank God I was brain dead. But anyway, the situation is that there's a lot of people in the comments that likewise share your feelings about Ubisoft and the other things that we talk about here. So we ask that you have fun in the comments with us rather than give these people what they want and go confront them on their stupid decisions. So, in any case, from all of us here at Bounding into Comics, we hope you have a wonderful evening, and as always, good luck out.